Hello and welcome. As you can see, I've been hard at work. I've been very working at hard and hardly at working. I've built a new screen to herald the heritage of the incoming tides of notes and reviews of the Gwenting of the notes of the patch of the reaction. We have that's not really a feature. It's just telling you there's 2 cards per faction. We'll agree to disagree on the meaning of the word feature. Yeah. So first change, Ale of the Ancestors. As you can see, my assistant has a PowerPoint presentation with all the cards, so that when you're reading the patch notes, as you know, you can see the cards. And this took a lot of work, and we had to hire an outside team to dynamically change the graphics you see on the right, or behind my head rather. There you go. I apologize for the green dust on my hair. We are doing some construction up in the attic. Yes. So this card will now get currently it just does boost the unit by 3, cooldown 2. It's being changed to boost the unit by 3, cooldown 2, as in this part's not changing. The only thing that is changing is in addition to the boost, it also gives it an infusion that makes Golden Froth or Moshcraft boosted by an additional 2. I guess the idea is you put this 12 provision unit in an alchemy deck and make your Truffle, Dwim, Moshcraft, Golden Froth, Pro Clan, Druid, Burna. Like all those things that replay alchemy cards gives them extra value. Of course, it's countered by those cards dying, or getting locked, or getting purified. But presumably, because the cooldown's 2, you can keep doing this, and because it has resilience, you drop it on the board like a candle. And that deck already has other Heatwave targets, because oftentimes you see Melusine played there, but obviously also the alchemy scenario. So maybe it will live. Yeah. Next slide, please. Thank you. My assistant's doing such a good job. The event list has got to go. Colossal Ifrit. Ability. So right now it does Zeal, Order. I have to read this one. Nobody knows what this card does. You've never seen it. I played it once in a Acid Spit deck, because like I was getting a lot of units. Like when it did work and stick, it was taking all the enemy units to 1, but then I had no way to finish them off, and this was a way to finish them off. I like that it has Zeal, and so like when you play it, it plays for 5 plus up to 9. So now it's being changed to damage 3 units on the opposite row by bracket 0. Oh, it's my favorite. Bracket 0s are my favorite. Let me guess. I haven't read it yet. But is it going to be by the number of X in your starting deck or the number of Y in your hand? Increases value by 1 for each construct you played this game. Oh, they mixed it up on me. Didn't see that one coming. Did you see that one coming? I didn't see that one coming. I did not. But this makes the... I was watching the dev video earlier before the stream started. And they said something about constructs. So that makes sense. Consider me constructed. Construction complete. Additional silos required. Construction complete. Insufficient power. Does it count Ifrit as a construct played? Yes. Ifrit is a construct, and the order is it's an order with Zeal. So first you play it, so it will be considered play. So minimum, it was still basically it has the same floor. But if you played other constructs this game, the ceiling is higher. Now, what are the other constructs in the game? We have Living Armor. Next slide, please. Colossal Ifrit, which we just saw. Enrage Ifrit. See, this one was very big, and this one was very mage. Why is this not premium? I gotta premium all my constructs. Why do we even have a construct tag? You take that back, Kareem. Next thing, we know you're gonna be asking for the plant tag to have a reason, and we're just gonna have to put you in a black bag and send you off to a CIA facility. This is not a laughing matter. Brightner is a construct, but only when it's transformed. Which it doesn't say that this is a transform, but I think it's a transform. It says awaken. But regardless, you don't play this, because when you play it, it's not a construct. When it's dormant, it's a nothing. Maybe he will get the tag. I don't know. I hope it does. There's Primordial Dowel. He's very buff. He's been going to the Rock gym. Fun fact. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got his name from Primordial Dowel. That's why there's been a major copyright dispute between the two. Of course, Primordial Dowel doesn't have good representation, so you probably haven't heard of this. Yeah. Well, he's got a small head, but he can yank a tree out from its roots. And he's not as scared of a dude with a spear. Look at him. He doesn't even blink. He's physically incapable of flinching. Yeah. Like, this could be an Overwatch character. It would be dope. How do you fight an Earth Elemental? You don't. You run. Fast as you can. Is that not the most Giga Chat flavor text you've ever seen? Alright, next slide. Savola is not a construct. Savola's Frightener is... but you don't play it. You spawn it. Frenzy Dao. This is a card that Postable actually has played in competitive tournaments. In like Renfree decks, I think. It's a 7/7 that moves a card to the other row. Basically a 7 provision soldier. A scout rather, because a scout is 4/4. But scout didn't used to always be move a unit to the other row. Okay. Cynthia is a human mage. She spawns a construct, but that doesn't matter. Now, of course, obviously, this change to Colossal Ifrit is meant to be a nerf to Clog, because all you have to do is put Colossal Ifrit in your deck, and then queue into Clog, and then the Clog player will play Cynthia, not knowing what's about to happen, and you put, bam, Colossal Ifrit. You get a 5 body and a lacerate, baby. Yeah, and they'll feel dumb. Emotional damage will be done. Opponent will never financially recover from the lacerate you bestowed upon them, because they gave you the Guardian. Of course, you have to wait and play next round, but you get it. And then there's Fringilla Vigo, which is not a construct and doesn't play a construct. She damages an enemy unit by 2, but if you have an adjacent construct, she damages another unit by 2 and another unit by 2. This card's actually not bad, because you can play 2 Blightmakers and Fringilla. And then she comes down as like a 10/7, but 6 of it is damage, which is nice. Like, it's not as many points as Axel, but it's pretty good if you have the constructs. Will we see a Nilfgaard construct deck? with alchemists and stuff, I don't know. Me no have enough brain for that yet. We're just reading the patch notes right now. Calm down. You're getting ahead of yourself, chat. And then we have Imperial Molem. Reveal the top unit from opponent's deck and damage self by its power, then shuffle it back. So this is like in the alternate reality where the players are wholesome, this is a counter to Fisher King. You see opponent plays Fisher King or Imperial Marine, you play a Golem, you shuffle that card back into their deck and you delay their boost by like 3 or 4 turns. I'm sorry. We gotta go premium Cynthia apparently. Nobody wants me to record a video uninterrupted. And because I'm too poor to have an editor, you guys are just gonna see all this. Deal with it. Hashtag deal with it. Yeah, poor Nilfgaard. They have so many busted stuff that a 10 for 7 is like, meh. Plus, it's not even toxic, you know? Why play this when you can play Cantarella or Prophet? Man, the art on this. She's so angry. I like how they stop screaming after a while. See how much toe beans everyone got on your channel? No, I do not see that for Sheldon. I can see how many coins you have, which is why I use that for more important stuff. Because I have visibility into that and I can manually add or remove from that. I don't let people gamble with it because these coins are valuable. Okay. Blightmaker creates a construct, doesn't play it. So, realistically, in terms of constructs, what we're talking about, for the purpose of Ifrit, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not playable. These aren't constructs. This is NG only. So I can see a deck having 4 constructs. Maybe 5. I mean, 9 for 9 is so bad. Oh, but Enrage If is also changing, so we'll come back to this. Next card, one of my favorites, because I've never ever played this card or put it in a deck. Banish a unit with power 3 or less has been changed to 4. Okay. So basically, you know how offering is better than like a joust? Because an offering can kill boats with armor, things with shield. Yeah. Just and even like maybe a Sigvald that got low, right? Like there are reasons why, because the banish is like a better destroy. There are reasons why currently you play a destroy card. Like offering, even though it only does like 4 points of tempo, not counting the carryover. And for those same reasons, I can see this card getting some play now. At 3, it was basically never played. At 4, what are some things that are worth banishing? A Self-Eater, but usually those are 5 or 3 or whatever. Madoc, obviously, 3. But the thing is, like, if you put this in your deck before, the number of times it was useful were so low that with just 3 banish, that it wasn't worth playing, having in your deck. Maybe if somebody operators an initiate on your side of the board, you banish it. Because this can be used on your side of the board as well. Like a lot of neutrals, it doesn't actually say enemy or ally because they're neutral. And I've always enjoyed that. Sure, you can use this on Crow Mother. Necrat, an unboosted Flutter. What else? Ghost Redanian? Sure. Funeral Boats? People aren't really replaying Funeral Boats. So it is 9 points of tempo for 8. And it banishes. So like the choice... Let's talk about what this card would replace, right? So Holger is 8, right? In a Pirates deck. I've also never understood why this doesn't have a gang or something. Isn't he a Syndicate member? Or is this somebody else? He just looks like he should be friends with Junior. The art is fine. That is Horson Jr.? Okay. So why is he neutral? A Marine that hasn't boosted. Hey, that happens more often than you think. But usually a Marine that's not boosted gets Imperial Formation, unless it's you're playing against an Enslaved deck. But they usually, if they're not trolling, they'll play Calvite first. But still, like, even if you're not getting banish value, just being able to destroy, like, if you have brawlers in your deck, you get something that, like, sometimes opponent will have like 5 things that are 4 power, right? And then they'll play one thing that's 6 power. You could click the brawler twice and then play this, because this you can target, right? I think it should be damage by 4. I think damage by 4 would make it too good. Outside of Skellige, there isn't a lot of like units that do that much damage, right? Like Toad consumes, doesn't damage. Adastriga damages 4, but it has a dominance condition. Like people were playing Enraged Ifrit before, because it was like back before Torres lost the ability to replay cards from your own deck. People were using Torres to replay Stefan, and so people were using Enraged Ifrit to kill Stefan. I'm glad they didn't make it strictly better Toad. It would be very hard to make another Toad. Unless they make Yaga a better Toad. Then I would like it. If like Yaga on deploy was able to consume a unit with power up to the number of cards on this row, then I think it'd be a playable card. Okay. So let's I like this change. I think whether it'll see play, I don't know. It might still be too expensive, but I think it's now an interesting card that you should have in your mind when you're making decks based on what the meta is. So Enraged Ifrit, as we can see in this next slide, used to damage an enemy unit by 5. Now this 5 is in brackets, and it says increase this value by 1 for each construct you played this game. So just like dragons that reward you by having more dragons in your deck, and there's one faction, scoia'tael, that can play extra dragons, and I guess like Keltalis is also a dragon in Monsters. This is the same thing. Nilfgaard has an extra construct, and they also have some things they can do with living armor. It used to be living armor was also played in Monsters because Caranthir living armor was a thing, but then because of Relic, that's no longer possible. Cruxico Mansley was saying about Cyprian Wilder that if you don't have a target, it's a 5 for 8. Sure, but offering is a 0 for 5 if you don't have a target. I think that's fine. Can we make a Dragon Struct deck? No. We're not doing that. I do like constructs. Like I don't know what it is about them, but just like they're like Elden Ring bosses, you know? They're like, oh, you know, like it's just like I just like Ifrits. Even in the Witcher game, I liked fighting constructs because they were like they didn't take fire damage. I think or were vulnerable to an element. Too bad this doesn't count as a construct. I really hope this got changed, but I doubt it. I hope this got changed too. We'll see. Like, look how badass they look. They're literally like rock people with fire inside them. Screw you, Blightmaker. Nobody likes you. I'm glad it's played, and that played doesn't really benefit Nilfgaard. But so, okay. So this just makes it... This could go up to 9. 5 body with 9. No, but you have to play those cards. So much like how some other dragons are better late game, constructs will be similar. We'll see. I wish. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the other construct, and then go back to Eskel. So, Frenzy Dow. No, that's not. Frenzy Dow. Play 1 Rock Barrage from your deck. Increases value by 1 for each construct you played this game. If no Rock Barrages are available, move an enemy unit to the other row instead. And it's still going to be 7 for... Okay, so currently, as we saw, it's just a construct that moves a unit to the other row. Which, because Scout exists, it kind of has lost its value. Other than, you know, it's 7 points. Like... The thing that I think sometimes people overlook is that they see everything in terms of provisions. Provisions only matter when you're deck building. Once a card is in your hand, 1 card is 1 card. You only... You don't... This isn't like Magic or whatever where you have to pay mana to play a card. You can either play this in 1 turn or you can play Scout in that same turn. One of them is 7 tempo per turn, the other is 4 tempo per turn. This has an advantage, even though it's more expensive, right? And I like that there's 3 neutrals that you can play together, but they're not 17 of them. Like, the nature Equinox thing was awful. Because, like, it was only 1 deck, 1 faction. Like, and the whole deck was determined. Like, you literally had to put 12 nature cards in your deck. If this stays to, like, 5 or less cards, I can live with it. But it's getting... Like, it's starting to get bad right now. I'm starting to be concerned. Because now we're adding 2 Rock Barrages as well. So, like, the more of my deck is dictated to me by the game, the less fun it is, right? And the less freedom I have, and the less interesting decks we can create. Like, if you want to make a game that's sustainable for a long time, you should not have all of the ways people can play it mapped out. There should be some stuff that you don't expect and anticipate, and people can combine together to make new ways to play the game. Give me Legos. Old school Legos that were like different blocks and different things, and it came with a book that the same 500 pieces could be used to make like 50 different machines or whatever, right? Not one Lego thing with a bunch of characters from one TV show and one, like, that's it. Like, you make it and then you're supposed to let it sit on a bookshelf and go buy another one and collect that one and build it and put it on the shelf next to it so you can have a shelf with lots of things that you bought to show people how much of a consumer you are. I don't know. Like, I hate that. What I loved about Legos was, like, you make a thing, then you take it apart, you make another thing, and you take it apart, make another thing with the same blocks. That's that's what cards should be. if that makes sense. So, Rock Barrage is a 5 for 4. This used to get a lot of play back when Milva first came out. Because with original Milva, this let you kill a 9. Which is hilarious. Right? Because this would do 4 damage. Milva was 3 damage total. Was it? Each leader was 5 points. And then this was 4 points. And a move. I don't know. Maybe this was let you kill an 8. I forget. But it was crazy. It was crazy when Milva first came out. But since then, since Milva got nerfed, it hasn't seen much play. Now you're gonna want 2 of it in your deck. Just because you have a Frenzied Dowel. Is there any changes to Rock Barrage? No, but there is a change to Primordial Dowel. Primordial Dowel is the one with the shield that you've never seen played because it is terrible. Boost self by 0, increased by 1. Okay, but which construct do you want to play first? Like, they all have this number. At least with dragons, it's like a number in your deck, so you can play them in any order. These, you have to play in a specific order. And I don't ever want to have this in my deck, I'm sorry. Even if it were to boost by 4, it still wouldn't be very good. Like this, I think this is a lazy change. This needed a rework. Yeah, I won't be playing this. I can see playing 3. Like, Colossal Ifrit's the good one. Because it scales the best, right? Damaging all units on an enemy row by 3 would be really good. Heck, 4 would be, like, might even be worth doing it. In a deck that can guarantee a long round. This one's okay. Like, floor of 10, ceiling of maybe 13. It's kind of stupid that all of them have the play requirement. If they didn't have the play requirement, NG would abuse it. Because, like, Guardian. And NG mirrors would become, how many Blightmakers can you copy from your opponent? And it would just be dumb, 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 dumb. Hey, Rahead. Plus, like, would you count Disc? Because it spawns one in the opponent's deck? I don't know. I'm just looking real quick to see if there's anything else related to constructs. No. So, realistically, if you want to make constructs happen, you're going to play Colossal Ifrit, Enraging Flit, Frenzied Dowel, and 2 Rock Barrages. That's 5 cards. Maybe you even play a Living Armor because this is the one that you can play first. That would boost all these other ones. But, like, playing this just so this becomes an 11 for 10 instead of a 10 for 10 isn't really that promising. Actually, the more I think about it, the more, like, I'm starting to think I won't be playing constructs at all. Because, like, a rent-free deck is a place where I could see these being used. But this doesn't want to be in a rent-free deck. So... There's a lot of excitement in the chat for the Cockatrice rework. I think they're more excited for my aneurysm that I'm sure I will have once I see it. Alright, let's talk about Eskel. Oh my god, I can't even type. I mean, my assistant doesn't know how to go to the next slide. Also, Lulu, check out our new production team. You can see the picture of a card next to the notes. Whoa, what is this? Industrial art and magic? Step aside, George Lucas. There's a new sheriff in town. Constructs suck? Yeah, but what if you play all of them? They still suck. But they can suck together. Constructs together, stuck. I need to hydrate before this. Currently, Eskel's a 6 for 6. End of your turn, boost self by 1. When I first started playing Gwent, I thought this card was amazing. I was like, holy shit, it's boosting every turn. This card is OP. I wish I had this. My opponent has this. So, wait, what? Why does it say power change from 7 to 4? Guys? What am I missing here? Is this 6 or 7? What? Even CDPR didn't know what power this... They just thought it was 7. No wonder they didn't change it till now. They thought it was 7. Not that 7 would be good, but like 6 is shit. So... Provision cost changed from 9. Yeah, fuck you, Golden Necker. We're done. You're sold last year. We don't want any Golden Necker in the game. Reddit told us Golden Necker is bad. Golden Necker is bad, okay? Everything has to be 10 provisions. Literally everything this year has been moved like 9 to 10. Nothing has gone down in cost. That's not true. But like all the new cards have just made sure you can't use them in Golden Necker. Okay, so it's getting more expensive. And the power is being changed from 6 Ven to 4. Okay. Ability change to deploy. Destroy an enemy unit with a primary category that is not in your starting deck. So you can't kill any Nilfgaard units. I guess maybe Helga, if somebody plays Helga, can be destroyed. From Ast. Come on, guys. I'm doing a serious video here. This is for YouTube. Monsters can play this? But it's 10p! And 4 power! Why wouldn't I just play Geralt? Like... If it was 9p, maybe. No, I understand how it's different from Geralt in that it doesn't have a 9 power requirement. But like, if I'm destroying a Helga with this, why didn't I play a Cyprian Wily? Like, at least that's 8. In full Witcher deck, it can kill anything except Witchers. Right, I understand how the card works. But like... This means not ST probably, right? Yeah, but Heatwave is more... Right, why would I play this over Heatwave? Because 4 points? Like, that's not enough. That's... You don't, yeah. Puzzle says you don't. You don't play this over Heatwave. So it's... In Renfree? But Renfree means NG, and NG has Leo, and Leo's better. And so is Vilgefortz. And so is, I would argue, Vincent is better even. They're just more versatile. So like, if you have this in a Renfree deck, you can't play Renfree NG, okay? With no machines, just humans. You can't kill a Witcher with it, and you can't kill a human with it. How annoyed are you going to be when your opponent plays on a Fawn, or like a Ciri Nova, and you can't kill it? Like, it's annoying. And ST wouldn't want to play this. Most ST decks wouldn't. Maybe Symbiosis. But again, Heatwave. Like, those decks usually have room for one removal. Like, to me, a conditional removal, like a conditional destroy, shouldn't be 10. It should be 9. This instead of Arrow? But I could also play Igni in Death Wish. Like, isn't that better? And right, if you run into a mirror, you literally can't kill anything. It's a brick. Geralt's not a brick in a vamp mirror. This is. You know what I mean? No, the ceiling isn't high. The ceiling is mid. The ceiling is like 1 point higher than a Geralt. That's it. 1 or 2 points. But an opponent's skill would be bricked as well. Unless the opponent's not dumb enough to have this in their deck. Let's say I'm playing Vamps, right? And I play Geralt. And you're playing Vamps and you play dumb fucking Eskel. Who do you think is gonna win that mirror? Like, maybe NR Witchers? But Geralt's also a Witcher. Again, like, what? I don't know, man. I just don't see the value. I think this card is actually a downgrade. I think it was better before when it was 7 power. 7 power. Like, just change it to 7 power, okay? And change Nuetrals to 7 power as well while you're at it. Okay. Frenzy Dow, we've already talked about this. It's garbage. Will not play. This doesn't make any difference. It's still... Like, a 10 for 9 isn't better than a 9 for 9. If it used to be a 4 for 4, and now it's a 5 for 4, with up to a 9 for 4, okay. I understand that. But, oh, sorry. This is not the shield one. This is Frenzy. This plays a Rock Barrage for me deck. I think this can be good. Without other constructs, even. In, like, a Milva deck. But Milva sucks. Maybe a Madoc deck. This can be good in a Madoc deck. Because with Madoc, oftentimes you want enemies to go to the different road to get hit by Cataclysm. Or Pirates might play this. And it thins, right? It's 7 plus 1 thinning. And the card that it thins is like a useful card. Because it does 4 damage and moves a row. This is not an 11 for 7 that thins 1 5p. This is a 7 for 7. Like, that plays another card. It's a 7 body plus a 4 for 5. Right? Like, you can't say it's an 11 for 7 if you're using it to play 5p. That means it's an 11 for 12, but you also get 1 thinning. Right? So it's 11 points plus 1 thinning for 12 provisions. But anyway, the point is, unfortunately, Frenzy Dao needing Rock Barrage means you're not going to play it in a Renfree deck. So the other Ifrits are not good. Because, like, only playing 3 constructs doesn't make the Ifrits good enough to play. And then if you're playing the 3 constructs, this is your 3rd one, and you're going to want to play specials. So, not playable in Renfree. And in a non-Renfree deck, I don't really see the point of constructs. I can maybe see, like, in a... If Row Punish becomes a thing, it becomes important, but it's so conditional. I don't know. Like, short round is bad. But by itself, in a Madoc deck, or a Precision Strike Control deck, or a Milva deck, you know, one of those things. Maybe in my... I can see playing it in my Golden Necker Mentors deck. No, Polka. We're just gonna go through it. All right, next card, Geralt Art. This one was one of my favorite cards. I used to play this in a deck with the initiative regis, the one that does row damage and keeps repeating. That was really cool. Oh wait, no, this is not Art. This is Art. Thank you. Damage 3 enemy units by 2, then move them to the range row. Currently you can't use this to move things from range to melee, only from melee to ranged. And it has a floor. Well, it plays for 9 points, plus up to 3 moves. But Nivellen plays for 6 points and 3 moves of adjacent cards, mind you. This is any 3 cards, but still, like, this was so expensive. I don't think it's seen play in a serious deck in a very, very long time. The power on this is getting changed from 3 to 4, and the provision is getting changed from 10 to 9. I think that's a great change. So 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 for 9 and 3 movement isn't bad. It's still expensive. But the fact that you get to pick which 3 units means that maybe with a crushing trap, you can do some cool stuff. I don't know. It's more support for these like neutral control-y decks, or not neutral, but like these control-y decks that have lots of damage cards. Probably Maddock dragons and traps and, you know, those kinds of things. Unitless Arrakis, I don't know. Because Lacerate's a card.
_passing just followed.
Thank you for the follow.
You need people like me.
But yeah, you know, anytime a card that sees no play gets buffed by power and provisions, will this be enough? We'll see. It certainly is no longer completely like garbage. Now it's like, well, mainly because of the provision change. Like, Ifrits are still bad because they're 10p. Like, the 9 to 10 is a significant one. Let's see a little berry. Sorry, I'm a stickler for little lines visible on my screen. Okay. So let's talk about Gregoire de Gorgon. Gregory de Gorgon? I don't know how to say that. Gorgon? Death blow boost change from 5 to 8. So right now it's a 4 for 4 that also does 1 damage. So I guess 5 for 4. And if that 1 damage kills something, you get 5 points and a shield. But like, how often are you playing a 9p card to do a 1 damage death blow? Not often. So this is changed to boost from 5 to 8. Oh my god. So like, they're increasing the payoff, but not the brickability. Another low floor, medium to high ceiling card. Like, the problem wasn't the boost. The problem was the damage. If they changes the damage in enemy unit by 4 or 3, and then death blow boosts self by 5 and gain a shield, it would instantly become viable. But like, now you have to have some other damage cards, things with orders, right, or charges or whatever, so you can set up, you can, because you don't want to take an enemy unit down to 1 and then give him a turn to boost it. In Gwent, at any reasonable level of play, if a card can easily be counterplayed or played around, it doesn't get played. So most cards that do see play are cards where opponent can't effectively, reasonably, efficiently brick your card. And this card can be bricked by just not having 1s. So, like, yeah, it will make me mad because somebody will have this and will win because of it. Like if I'm playing Harakas or something in a show round 3, whatever. Like, I used an organic special and it got me a drone that I can't turn off because my leader ability can be a downside sometimes. And then they played this because for some idiotic reason they have it in their deck. And look, they played a 12 for 9. And like, I'll be mad. But that will happen one every 30 games, or 50 games, 100 games, whatever. But all the other times, this will just be a waste of provision. So, meh change. Still, this is one of the cards that I always bring up when I point out all of the terrible cards that haven't been touched in a long time. So, credit where credit's due. They are touching terrible cards. Maybe they'll touch it again. NG plays a lot of 1-point spies. That's true. So Nilfgaard could take advantage of this because they can... In an NG deck that plays spies, this is less likely to break. However, why the hell would I play this in Nilfgaard when I can play Rosa and Vilgefortz and Yenvo? Like, the competition for 9 provision cards is insane in Nilfgaard. I would never. I don't think I would play this in Nilfgaard. Like, it's a knight, but the only knight synergy that Nilfgaard has is like Angelim versus NR Knights, which isn't really a synergy because it's like one matchup. And there's what's his name? The 2-power guy that increases the boost by 2 for each knight. But like playing a 9p card when you can play a Nilf Knight for the same effect isn't really something I'm gonna be doing. I think that's a misclick by Ouija. Just passing. Oh, it's a spoiler. That's why you did it. Okay, I see. Yeah, no spoilers, guys. I'm just trying to react to the chat patch notes fresh. Yeah. Like, puzzle, if this was damage 3 or damage 4 and the boost was the same, would you play it? If it was damage 4, yeah. Because there's a lot of things that are 4 that you want to remove. And being able to remove a 4 and add 5 tempo, or sorry, add 4 points to your side, or 9, is really fucking good. For damage 1 to be good, it needs to boost by 16, yeah. Like, damage 1 is the problem. And they haven't, like, we don't want cards that sometimes play for a lot of points. We want cards that don't lose us games. That's how Gwent works. I don't know how to convey this to the devs. Nobody likes it when they have a card that like 5 out of 7 games is garbage and 2 out of 7 games wins the game. We don't want that. We want a card that like 5 out of 7 games is okay, and 1 out of 7 games loses you the game, and 1 out of 7 games wins you the game. You know what I mean? Like the frequency of the card being amazing or terrible needs to be like 10 to 20%. That's it. We don't want any more than that. That's like, it's unpleasant. It's stressful. It's not fun. It's not fun when it works against you. It's not fun when yours bricks. Like, and when mine works on the opponent, I might be happy, but they'll be sad. That is zero-sum gameplay in a PvP game. That's bad. Go listen to Ben Brody talk about this stuff. If you don't respect me, like, go listen to the guy who made Hearthstone and Snap, which is eating your lunch on Twitch, by the way. Like, fun is an important mechanic in games. I don't know why I have to say this. But F-U-N. Look it up. Alright, let's talk about Marlene. I love this card. Even though I almost never played it, I love that it was there. It was the only way in the game to proactively give something Veil. I could play this, and then I could play Unseen Elder and give my Unseen Elder Veil so that I could fulfill my fantasy of my Unseen Elder actually being veiled. Bird sit business. Why not play Carapace then? Because Scent of Blood is really good for vamps. But like there's other cards. There are some cards like Eltibald, right? Like Carapace doesn't work on them. But there's just some cards that are essentially build around cards, or at least require a high investment from your deck. And if they're just gonna get locked and that's it, I liked having a way to prevent that. Hey, I built my deck in a way that accounts for you having locks. Now, if you want to purify it and then lock it, okay, fine. Right? Then I can also, like, you know, it's just good in that sense. It's also good if you're playing against poisons or something, right? Because Syndicate can double poison stuff in one turn, so can Nilfgaard. So, like, sometimes against Masquerade Ball, the only unit you have that lives is Veil. That's it. Like if I'm playing Arrakis, my Stalkers live, and that's it. Nothing else lives. So, yeah, Fortune Teller doesn't work the same way, because if I play a card and you double poison it doesn't matter. Like, this was the only way in the game to put a card down and tell the opponent, you have to kill this, or I can give Veil to another unit. It did a thing that nothing else did. Was it OP? No. Was it good? Probably not, because it was a 6/6, but not bad either. It's the same points as Doragary or Fisher King or like it. You could have made it 5p if you didn't think it was played enough. But now it's Doom. If not Doomgate, did we really need another like resilience unit? But like a terrible one that requires I play it, and then the enemy. Wait. Yeah, because it's an order. So like, I have to play it, and then I have to play a Peller to purify it and click it. What the hell is that? Yeah, Cordy's deck. Cordy's Shield Wall deck. Marlene worked well in that. It had synergy with the Griffin Witchers. Not that I'm a fan of Veil getting around the lock self type restrictions on cards, but like, and some people play this with Heavy Cav and Nilfgaard. But those specific interactions aside, like, it was cool. Playable in Asmanic with Kalkstein? Yeah, but like, instead of having to draw Kalkstein and this, just play Siri Nova. Or Sausage Maker even. Plus, Syndicate already has a way to give units Veil. Alchemist Grimace? I mean, the Purify, like, sure, you could have Caretaker on the board and drop this and Purify it. But the point is, it's clunky. And any kind of deck that would want 6 power resilience can already almost always play Siri Nova. But somehow Golden Necker is a dirty word now. Sausage Dude is 9. Lulu. Fuck Veil. Sign a Salamander Enjoyer. Well, screw you, Salamander Enjoyer. Although, Puzzle and I both hate Veil also, because it's binary. I've long held that Veil should be changed to, like, a shield-like effect. Which basically says, if you get another status, purify self. Or if you know, absorbs a status, basically. Caretaker, I know. Again, the point is, like, comboing a 9... Like, playing a 9 provision Caretaker to get a worse Siri Nova, just play the Siri Nova. You know what I mean? It's like me calling you and asking you for your phone number. How stupid am I? Like... You posted it 3 years ago on Reddit that Veil should be changed to a shield-like thing? That's funny. Alright, Nivellen's getting changed. I was curious with the art change, what would happen to Nivellen. Power changed from 5 to 8. Provision cost changed from 6 to 8. Okay, hold on. What this does currently, it's a 5 for 6 that moves 3 adjacent units. So you target one unit and it moves the left and the right and the middle all together to another row. It could be used on your units or enemy units. So Reavers would use it for themselves as a counter to movement, or they could use it on enemy units to set up a surrender. I use it in my Golden Necromentor's deck sometimes. All right, let's see. What did they do with this? They made it 8 power, 8 provision. Okay. And now it moves all units on an enemy row to the other. But why is it enemy row? Oh, come on! It's neutral. Why is it enemy? Anti-Sove? No, because after they play the Sove, even if you move stuff, it doesn't matter. If you're saying you use it to fill your own row, you could have just played your units on the melee row. Please don't say silly things. How does this deal with Sove? I don't understand. Did I miss something? Oh, you fill the enemy front row? Oh. But they would have to have 9 units for this to be possible. And, like, all they would have to do was not wait until they have 9 units to play Sove. Like, that's not very useful. It's not anti-Sove. Stop. Like, even now that I understand your slightly less stupid version of what you meant, it's still a dumb thing to say. Not dumb, but it's still not. That's not. Move all units from any to the other. I think value, like the uses I see for this are like setting up, like making your Igni not be brick. Sure, it wrecks Reavers. Like, literally just wrecks Reavers. I'm not sure this was the way to deal with Reavers. And yeah, setting up Crushing Traps, Lacerates, Dragon's Dream, Untributed Tin Boys, Colossal Ifrit. Sure, like, although those Ifrits are, once again, 10 provisions. So... setting up a Gezrus, I guess. If you're playing Gezrus. Just all sorts of row punish, right? Thank you, Biggie. I love you too. Yeah, this was already good into Reavers. Like... we're closing to the... oh no. I think my internet connection's having some issues now, Lulu. I'm sorry. Yeah, yep. Also, my camera's going out. We're losing the feed. Okay. So dislike this change, and it's now less playable because it's 8 provisions. I don't want 8 provision tech cards. I think that's silly. Primordial Dow, we already reviewed this change. This will still never get played. Regis Bloodlust. So, this was a vampire. Vampire card. Neutral. Deploy melee. So it was roll lock to melee. Damage an enemy unit by 4. And had a death blow that would banish the target. Back in the day, my understanding is this card was played and countered something and was like auto include. Boat and Crow Mother, yeah. Please, guys. I get easily distracted, so let's not talk about stuff that we're not talking about yet. We'll go in order. I appreciate it. So no talk. Like, I promise we'll look at the new SK cards. I promise we'll look at, you know, everything. So now it's being changed to 20 power at 20 for 10. When you lose a round, well, this card is okay. So 2010 that makes you not want to lose round one at all for any reason, which is kind of silly to make a card. Like I know that it's like gives them a risk reward boner because designers somehow sit in like, especially ones that don't play their own game and don't have an understanding of what it's like to be a player in their game where you're subjected to this feeling of if I don't win round one I lose. They think it's clever. They think it's like, oh, look at his trade-offs and balance and design and whatever, but it's not. That's not how it works. Nobody likes this. Nobody liked Erendite meta where it was like, oh, I got red coin and we both have Erendites. I guess I lose. Like, that's not fun. Like, coin is still a problem in Gwent, and anything that exacerbates coin is bad. So it's a 20 power card, which is, to me, like, if I play this and I'm blue coin, I'm just asking to get punished. Granted, it trades evenly with, like, Heatwave or Geralt. Well, with Heatwave. But, like, Vilgefortz comes out ahead. Although, I suspect that's getting changed too. Freeze in hand banishes and you don't draw a card. Oh, if it's in your hand or deck, banish self and then you don't draw a card. Oh, so you lose card advantage if you lose the round. So it's like a T-board that you play that forces you to win the round. If it's on the battlefield, like if you played it, it banishes your entire deck. If it's in your hand or in your deck, banishes self. If it's in your deck and it banishes self, that's perfectly fine because it just thinned your deck by one, sort of. So it's really only usable in round one. So we're just going to see ADC into Regis Bloodlust as a red coin abuse tactic every game. I don't see why you wouldn't put ADC in this in your deck if you're like, if you want to win round one on red coin. Regis Colgrim. I'd like to see that. If it's in your graveyard, banish the top 3 cards from your deck. This one was the one that made me think, is there something interesting I can do with this with Imlerith? You can also play it in round 3. No, you can't, because round 3 implies you've lost a round. So, if you win round 1 and you didn't use this, you can just jam this shit round 2 and go for the 2-0. Like, this just... It's so bad. It's so unhealthy. Like, the worst metas in Gwent have always been metas where there are decks that you have to beat them in round 1 or you lose the game. Or metas where you had to win round 1 or you lost the game, i.e. Erendite meta. And I don't see how adding a high reward, high risk card for winning round 1 is going to improve the game in any way. It's not cursed. What are you talking about? You can transform. Yeah, sure. If you transform it, fine. So then it becomes, do you have a way to stop them from transforming it? As in, you have to kill it. You can't heatwave it because then it negates the whole thing. I mean, you can, but it negates the downside. If you Vilgefortz this, opponent is basically screwed because you milled 1 card and this is going to mill 3 other cards. And those could be anything. Heck, you could Trahern. Well, I guess I should stop talking about Vilgefortz because I think I heard it got changed. Sure, you can consume it in the same turn. Whereas Curse Knight requires that you play it and play another card. So then it's like, play this and leader it, which is also dumb. play this, leader it, and then Ozrel it so it doesn't banish the top. Like, you see what I'm saying? Oh, I drew this and Ozrel. I guess I can do stuff now. You just play round one. You play until you feel like playing a 20-point card won't win you the round. And if you win the round without having to play it, then you play it round two and laugh at your opponent. Like, it's not... Play it and lock it on Morleham, that's next turn. Opponent could do stuff to it. But yeah, you can lock it yourself, but then opponent can purify it. Like, Cursed Knight, or some sort of transform, maybe with Ethereal. Wait. How does Ethereal work again? Oh, never mind. If we had the Rune Mage, Rogue Mage, sorry, Ethereal, then it could work. Cursed Knight is the only transform that works on this, right? Because, so like, and it's the example they used in the video, in the dev video, and I don't get it. This is a neutral card. Why does one bronze of one faction make this like drastically better and nothing else does? It's not a Death Wish. The lock doesn't carry into the graveyard. No, but if it's on the battlefield, it has an ability that says banish your deck. So, like, you play this, and it looks like you're going to lose the round. You could just lock it with Doragary, then it won't banish your deck. I think that's what people are saying. And then opponent can purify it, and then you have to lock it again. But aside from Nilfgaard, nobody else can lock a Nilfgaard and ST, nobody else can lock a friendly unit more than once. The reason no other transform works on this is because like Slave Infantry and Ethereal and whatever changes to like 4 or 5 power. But the whole point of this is that it's 20 power. Cursed Knight keeps the power. So with the new Prince Ada, is Ada boosted by 20? My understanding is yes. Because the deploy happens first and it you know, from what I've talked to people about, but we'll know tomorrow for sure. It'll be easy to test it. It's not the last cursed unit. It's the first time a cursed unit appears on the battlefield this turn. So it depends on how the transform logic works. Like, if this transforming, like, in order to transform it, it's in the air before it's part of the deploy. I don't know personally what is considered being on the battlefield, whether in the process of the deploy it's considered on the battlefield. So it's complicated. How does it mean? I mean, this isn't that good. But when I say this, sorry, I mean Regis Bloodlust. But the point is, like, we're talking about answer or lose, right? Is Kira Metz good? No. But if it's not answered, it plays for 1 billion points. So it will eventually ruin someone's day. So it's not, I mean... Yes, Polika, you can. In fact, that's... The example of using a Cursed Knight to transform this is what they used in the dev video, is what Malegion used as an example when they were revealing this rework. And then you can necromancy that thing, which I just don't understand. You could even Pavetta it and then tutor it. Like, I don't get it. Why have one card that is like stupidly abusable by one other bronze of one faction and no one else? It's just so dumb and bad. So far, this is my least favorite. And there's nothing vampire-y about this. Like, its name is Bloodlust. He should do damage because he wants blood. He lusts for it. Like, this isn't even lore friendly. Why does Regis being on the battlefield banish your... Like, what does this even mean? Is he like a sore loser? Is he throwing a hissy fit because you lost a round? Is that in Regis? It's like, why is it bad if Regis a fucking immortal vampire is in the graveyard. Just give him some blood, bring him back. Holy shit, like there's nothing that makes any sense about this name and this garbage. Like, who do they have coming up with these things? Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, a made-up video game fantasy universe nonsense game. So I can let go of my, like, you know, nerd stick if they want to make stuff that isn't balanced but at least makes sense in lore, because like this character is very strong or whatever. But there's no lore justification for this. You could put this on an Ifrit and it would make more sense. Literally, put this on Primordial Dowel. Just change this to Primordial Dowel and then fire whoever came up with the rest of this and then delete Primordial Dowel and then give me a Regis Bloodlust that, like, every turn drains, you know, 1 point from all units on the opposite row. There, I did it. I designed the card for you. 10 provisions, 4 power. Every turn, drain 1 point from all the units on the opposite row. He banishes that laugh, and there's the banish keyword description, so it's fine. NG from Colgrim? Yeah, somebody else already suggested that. I mean, it won't be good. Do I think NG Regis will suck? Why would NG Regis be good? I don't get it. If you transform this with a slave infantry, you've played a 5 for 10. Why would you transform it? Tigris, I already told you. You transform this to a cursed knight, then you play with necromancy. And you can also piveta it and play it again. Replace Tibor in that moon deck? No, it doesn't. Oh, like practitioner spam Tibor? No. Because the whole point of Tibor is that it's immune and can't be locked or damaged, and there's no targets for the opponent to hit. This isn't immune. This is just a 20 powered Elder Bear. But yes, you could give it to your opponent. You can use Vilgefortz Renegade to put this in their graveyard and banish the top 3 cards from... Oh. From their deck, though. But, like, if it's in your deck, and, like, if you copy this with practitioners, it wouldn't do anything. Like, you don't want that. Because then you have to win round 1 in a deck that already has to win round 1. And if you lose round 1, like, it just banishes your whole... Like, if each one of them banishes 3 cards. The top 3, which includes other Regises. I don't even know how that would work. Pavetta says non-neutral. I see. Okay, so you... No, but when you transform with a Cursed Knight, it becomes a non-neutral, dude. It becomes an NR Cursed Knight. It just becomes a 20 power Cursed Knight that you can Necromancy and Pavetta, and then you can Amphibious Assault it with last say to boost it by another 5. You can play a 25 point last say AA. Yeah, Cursed Knight keeps the power. If you're gonna use this to mill 3 cards from the opponent, you're putting a 10p card in their graveyard to banish the top 3 cards from their deck. I don't know. That doesn't seem worth it to me. Like I said, the way that I see this being played is Smorky decks that just bulldoze you and play this round 1 and laugh at you. Like, I can see this being played with She Who Knows in a Relic deck. If you're talented and you can draw yourself Eaters round 1, just play Unicorn Relics with Regis Bloodlust and She Who Knows and Quacks. Easy, right? Then, like, round 2, play Incubus. Whatever. Like, or play this with, like, Imperial Formation NG on Blue Coin with Battle Stations and Marines and just win the game. Like, just Smork with Calvi. Like, it is... Or you play with Curse Knight and transform it and then Necromancy it round 3. Like, there's just a lot of ways to abuse this and no healthy way to play this card. Like I said, this is my least favorite change in the patch. All right, let's move on. We've talked about Regis enough. Tainted Ale. So this is currently an artifact, 9 provisions, has an order with 3 charges that does 2 damage each. So it's like a 6 for 9, but some uninteractive decks play it because it's uninteractive. It's being changed to damage unit by 2 and infuse it with whenever this unit receives a boost, damage self by 1. What? So it's like, in addition to the 2 damage, so you put this on like an engine, say a knight, like an NR 5p knight, or an immortal or something, or yeah, or Imperial Marines, or Piggy, but then it like cuts their engine value by half. You guys already broke the game for the card release. I mean, it's already gonna happen. Oh, Marines boost by 1 twice? Okay, well, Piggy boost by 2 once. So with Marines, it would negate it. But it's like a very long way to go for a Dire Bear, you know? Or like for 9p, you could just kill the thing. I get that this could stop 3 cards, but who's going to put this artifact in their deck to counter Marines? It's not going to be Enslave. Yeah, Ale of the Ancestors has Resilience, which I think makes more sense because you just wouldn't get enough play out of it in 1 round. Because, like, to get value from Ale of the Ancestors, you have to infuse something, and then the following turn, you have to play another card. This doesn't require a second card at all. This just infuses an enemy instantly. So I think it makes sense. Some Keckers? I mean, Golden Ecker's dead, man. Kashi? Why would Kashi want this? Oh, you're saying you put this on Kashi? No, you kill the Kashi. Oh. You're saying put it on a friendly Kashi? I mean, that's a long way to go. You could just play taller units. Like for 9p, just play a taller unit. Like, I don't know. I think it just makes those, like, uninteractive decks slightly better. Maybe, like, Golden Ecker Pirates will play it. I don't know. I don't see this. Like, I get why people are happy that it's a thing in the game that screws Marines hard. But, like, the answer to Marines being busted is to just make Marines not be busted. Not to have one expensive binary counter to them in the game that you have to draw. Like, there have been some buffs to, like, control no unit decks in this patch, yeah. We might see a rise in those decks. We'll see. Okay, Last Wish. This is getting changed. So, currently, Last Wish is a special that you pretty much never see. Sometimes you see it in... it's mostly in meme decks because it's so bad. But sometimes you saw it in V. Because you could... Later on in the game, you would have like V and a bunch of crap cards in the deck. So you were fine playing this. Some like Compass decks I've seen play this sometimes. Like Shoop Compass Clowny decks. Southway, just go back in the VOD. I'm recording for YouTube. I'm not going to go back. I'm going to refund you. The VOD is up right now. You can just go watch it. We spent like 15 minutes on it. Play one and then banish the other. So the change is like currently it's 8 provisions, which is hella expensive. It's being changed to 6. So Roderick is -2 points and shows you 2 gold. You get to pick one to play. It doesn't banish the other one. This is 6 points. Doesn't have the -2, but it does banish one of the 2 cards that you see. And it's not golds either. It's just 2 cards. I still don't see playing with this. Not without having Max Seed first. Like, if you have a deck that has cards that you can YOLO banish... Hyperthin and Tactician could play it because he just always put a top deck. Yeah, but 6 points for one thinning? Like, 6 provisions for one thinning? Or 2 thinning, I guess. Why wouldn't you just play Tempest? Tempest is the same thing plus points. Okay, even for Colgan, why wouldn't you play Tempest? Maybe some sort of hyper-thin reveal deck? And this is your last play? But even, I mean, those decks would want to have thin down to 1 anyway. Yeah, I can't. I think this is one of those where they're like, this doesn't see play. We don't know if it's because it's too expensive or just shit. Right? Because they said something about this last patch where they gave like a 2 provision buff to a couple of cards. I forget what they were. Maybe somebody in chat can remind me. But they were like, we want to see, like, these are some things that before Go Infinity, we want to see if they'd be busted if they were cheaper. Sienna and Blue Dream. Yes, Sienna and Blue Dream. Sienna saw some play now. It's playable. Yeah, Cosmo. Cosimo used to be 9p, right? Now it's 7. Yeah, Cosimo's good now. Like, it's fine. They should just leave Cosimo as is. Sienna probably also fine. I don't know. It's still a binary card. Meme card. But that's fine. Some cards can be meme cards. I think Mandrake's a good card now. I think they should leave it, but... I think this is like those. They're like making it cheaper, and when nobody plays it, they're gonna rework it. True, I've seen Blue Dream on Roche, but that's like... That's silly to me when Red Sword exists and it has other uses. Blue Dream is only usable on Roche? Like... Why not just Red Sword the Roche? I don't understand why Blue Dream is... Like, you're just doing that so you can play Blue Dream. Red Sword is cheaper, does 5 damage, is more versatile, like... Armorer's Workshop got a buff. Interesting. I wonder if this will have an effect on dwarfs. So Armorer's Workshop, if you don't know, is currently boost 3 adjacent units by 2 and give them 2 armor. Okay, so it's like 6 points and 6 armor, right? So I used to play this in my dwarf deck with Simless, and like Cranmer and stuff. But now it says if you have Armorer's Workshop in your graveyard, boost 3 adjacent units by 3 and give them... Whoa. So the second one will play for 9 points and 9 armor? Also, you can play Seers. And this works on Seers because you're targeting something. The same reason you can use Golden Froth on Seers. Yeah, this... another reason why Seers are bad design. Right? Seers are busted if they live, and they're busted when Nilfgaard copies them, and... I'll let the mods answer, Chich. Here, dwarves, spare me this. Yeah, it's just gonna be like this. I mean, this is gonna be very strong. Like the deck that Puzzle and I built already had Simless just for temperings. Like we weren't playing Armor's Workshop because we're like just tempering. Because you can play multiple, you can play 4 of them from one Simless. But now it's like prediction: 2 patches from now, Armor's Workshop now gains Doomed. Like, because you're gonna play this, or at the end of your turn, if in the graveyard, banish self. Since my mods aren't taking care of it. Anyway. So I think this is... I mean, the dwarfs need a buff? Sure. Is this the way to do it? No, because this is like literally requires that you play Simless. Simless is such a crutch. Stop relying on Simless. No spoiling, and also we go in order, okay? Like, I get distracted, and this is for YouTube. We want to keep things concise. Also, don't get excited over the prospect of me being upset. That's kind of mean and rude. Inspirational. Valid. This is a 4 provision card that you never play because it's 6 vitality and takes 6 turns. Right? It's like a 0-point card that takes 6 turns to pay for, to get to 6, which is like not even a good amount. Do we play this with frogs? No. No, it takes 6 turns. Like, okay, instead of 6 turns, it takes 3 turns. But it's still 2 points that turn. You could maybe play this off of Simless in a Prism Pendant deck? But then, like, this gives you 4 on top of the 6. No, it's just not good. So now, it's being changed to, instead of giving an allied unit, it's going to give a random allied Witcher, Dwarf, Human, and Vampire. So does that mean it could play for 24 points? Well, 18 points. Okay, this is stupid. No. Harmony? Sure. Or like my Mentor's deck. I don't think you want to put a shitty unit in your deck so you can make a 4 provision card slightly better. Like, that's not what... Don't add a bad card to your deck to make it a mediocre card slightly less mediocre. Like, it's not... It says and. Yes. So, like, Dwarf Defender, Cat Witcher, Dryad, Elf. Those don't matter. Well, just the Witcher. Dwarf and Human are the 3 that, like, because Milva's a human. Like, there's Abandoned Girl that's a human, but you're gonna change it. There's Hawker Smuggler that's a human. And, like, aside from ST, who has dwarfs? There's neutral dwarves, I know that, but, like, again, putting a shit card in your deck so a 4 provision vitality card can be made better is not. So Syndicate has dwarves, yes. But are you really gonna wanna make your Cleaver taller? Or your, I mean, Brawler, I guess. That's it, right? What other dwarfs would you ever play? I think it will only be playable in ST. I don't see how it would be playable anywhere else. And even ST, it's like I only see Symbiosis. Taking Inspirational Ballot to Vitality my Bassi? Yeah, exactly. To a random one. So you don't get to pick which Witcher, Dwarf, Human, or Vampire is buffs. But like, why'd they throw in vampire? I don't understand. Like, which monster deck is gonna have a Witcher? I mean, I guess you could have a Witcher because it's neutral ones. But am I really making a Witcher human vampire monster deck just so I can give a bunch of random cards vitality? Just a lore thing? Can you explain? Are only dwarfs, humans, and vampires able to be inspired, but not dryads? Are dryads incapable of inspiration? Geralt, Zoltan, Milva, and Regis? But this isn't Dandelion. Yes, full house. This gives it up to 4. Does Regis travel with Milva, Zoltan, and Geralt? Okay, so we're gonna move on. This is just a nerd thing. I don't see a good way to play this. Oxenford Scholar is a card that if you say you know what it is, you're lying. This is one of the worst neutrals in the game currently. Given alienated vitality. It's a 5 for 4. 2 vitality. You only ever see this if like Nilfgaard played Diplo against a Renfree deck. That's it. That is the entirety of... Yeah. No, I thought it was this. I was like, wait, why did they rework that? I was like, oh, then it must be this one. Right? If it's not this, then it's this. And then I'm like, oh. You knew it for Summer Cycle? I see. Because Crimson Curse? Was that the packs that added Vitality? No. Vitality was in the game before. Right? This isn't this in Shoop Erlin? Hold on, what does it say? Boost self by 1 for each card with a... You know, I think I've said everything I have to say about this kind of card design. We're just gonna move on. It's just like a glass of cold water poured on your head. Like, it's just... Okay. We're gonna move on. Alright, so this is when we're going to talk about the monster cards. Adastriga. So this is one of the cards I would highlight as like, this card is garbage, you never see it played, blah, 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 blah. The only redeeming quality it had was that it had the curse tag, but even then, eh. So right now, it's damage an enemy by 2. If you have dominance, do damage it by 4 instead. Oof. Provision cost changed from 7 to 9. Can we stop with this? Every rework card doesn't have to become... Like, they want it to be impactful. And so they make, like, a very strong thing. But because they're making it strong, they're changing it to be, like, 8 or 9. I want some 5, 6, and 7 cards that are good. Please. Stop it. Monsters have no good 7P cards other than Goliath. Can we not take away with one of... like the ones that could fill that spot? Like buff the beast, buff Ada, but don't change their provision cost. Ability change to Zeal, Order, consume a token? Huh? So this monkey with like ferocious fangs and now just wants to eat bugs? Did somebody watch a nature documentary and like... Whoever designed this card should eat bugs. And leave Striga out of it. Consume a token. Why do I want to consume a token? It's a one-time thing. Like, why? Apparently, gorillas are switching to a diet of Ekimara and drones. SY tokens? Right, but like, why? Why do I need a 7 provision? Like, 7P card should be like an Axel, like a utility points card, right? Like a profit. Have it lock something. You can custom, like, stop telling me about the potential ceiling of this card in your weird fantasy scenario that doesn't exist. I don't care if my opponent plays fucking Ring of Favor on a soldier that spawned from the pincer maneuver leader and then I consumed it. Oh wow, this played for him. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want cards that sometimes randomly, due to nothing that I did and no mistake of my opponent, because no one should be playing this dumb shit card, happen to play for 1,000,000 points and win the game. I don't want to play a slot machine. I want answers to stuff that I can put in my deck and be prepared and be clever and be like, bam, you played this, I have this. You played that, I have that. Like, I combo this card with this other card and there's synergy. Like, this is the one, if it was like a repeatable order with a cooldown, okay, I can make some decks. But a 9 provision card that all it does is consume an ally, consume a token once, and that's it. But why would I consume a Lamp Djinn? It would be an 11 for 9. What the hell is the point of that? Lamp Djinn's a token. It says token on it. Oh yeah, and it's Predator, so you can't even eat a big token. Like, what is this? I mean, let's just say that I'm running a Girdle of Dumbness, right? Where is it? Boost an ally unit by 10. That somehow I use Girdle or Ultimate Evo because it's a beast, right? Somehow I use one of those cards to boost this, and then I consume a really tall enemy token. First of all, why did the enemy have a tall token? It's a final fuck you from the Gwent devs? Nah, man. No. You know what? If this card was replaced with ability like fuck you, kill yourself, and that was it, like the card would you just play it and it would kill itself, I would feel more respected. Because at least I would feel like, hey, at least they know that they're pissing me off. No, this is that asshole that cuts you off, but is like on the phone while driving and doesn't even know that he cut you off. Like, that pisses me off even more. He like, you know what I mean? It's the ignorant belligerence, like. So is Regis still the worst one? Yes, because this card will just never get played, and it's fine. The Regis is actually going to make my gameplay experience worse, because people will play it. So yeah, no, Regis is still worse. Because it's better. This douchebag is like bumping into you on the sidewalk while he's on his Bluetooth, and he spills your coffee, And he doesn't even notice, and he just fucking keeps walking. Okay, that's whoever designed this. Average i5 driver car design. Oh man. Shots fired at Texas and Florida. No spoilers, guys. Yeah, if it had a cooldown, I could make a deck with it. But like 9 provisions for a 6-power card that consumes a token? Double the boost. Not the power of the token you consume. Double the boost. Oh. So this is supposed to be played in like a Kiki Queen deck? But it won't proc Thrive. Because if the token is... Well, okay. You're supposed to play this when your Kiki Queen is at 6... and your tokens are at 3, and this will consume the token and then boost itself by an extra 2 points. So it'll be an 8 for 9? I don't understand this. Play it with ale. What? Yeah, this card could be 6 provisions and I still wouldn't play it. I'd rather play Barbagazi. I'd rather have some integrity, okay? At least that card, like, is an insectoid. Force of Nature is token. What? What is Force of Nature? You guys keep saying you can't eat Force of Nature. What is Force of Nature? What are you guys talking about? You mean Woodland Spirit? You mean it can eat a wood? Because he can't eat your leader ability. I think you mean to say Woodland Spirit. That is the thing you would consume. And Dana's not a token, guys. Just because something's Dune doesn't make it a token. Unless you mean the leader Dana. Force of Nature spawns Dana? Stop messing with my head. You mean, Nature's, sorry, Call of Harmony spawns Dana, which is a token? Like, it says double the boost from it. Guys, it doesn't double the amount. Does it mean the boost you got from consuming it? Or the boost that the token had? Look, even if this wasn't Predator, it wouldn't be good. Obviously the boost from the consume. But it says if it was allied, double the boost from it. Like, in the English language, it is not at all fucking obvious. I can get you any professor of language or grammar to come and tell you that this it refers to it, which was the token. The boost from it means the boost from the token, not the boost from the consume. Because a consume is an action and it is an object. It refers to a thing and a thing is a token. So don't fucking obviously mean nothing. This is dumb, badly worded and badly written. You would think that for a multi-million-dollar company, they would hire one person who can speak it the English, yeah? Holy shit, man. Yeah, if only it was possible to hire an English translator. They're so rare, being from the tropical island of Englandia. It's so hard to find English translators. It's such a rare fucking language. I don't know how I learned it. I studied the ancient manuscripts of Suck My Balls. Moving on from this garbage ass insult of a card redesign. Here's the beautiful Alpha Werewolf. Fantastic art design. Although he doesn't look alpha at all, he looks malnutrition. Feed this poor wolf. Look at him. His bone. Like, is he a vampire? Or a werewolf? No, he's a beast. Hi, Fleggy. Let me play a boost card to boost a terrible card, so that terrible card can play for a mediocre amount of points per provision. Like, this is the epitome of monster card design. 16 limitations for a lack of payoff. Like, even when it works, it's terrible. And it doesn't work 90% of the time. It's so bad. That's why it's irrelevant, Caddy. Like, oh, why don't you just play a Ring of Favor to boost the monkey that you put on the board and hope that it wasn't locked or tall punished, so that then you can consume a token that will be like 3 extra points. Wow, I'm so glad I played a 9 and a 9 and waited 2 turns and happened to be running into an opponent who was playing a token that happened to be boosted. Oh wow, I'm sure that while I was boosting my giant monkey of insults to be 9 power so it can eat the 7 power Dana, I'm sure they didn't just play another Harmony unit and click one time on their Chameleon, and I'm sure that Dana is no longer, it's just sitting there at 7p for me to eat it. Come on, man. Why are you on the other side of this argument? Like, the next person that defends or tries to come up with some way to use Striga and say that it's playable, just get banned because you're trolling. Obviously, you're either trolling or you don't have the mental capacity to take part in a conversation. So go somewhere else. Oh my god. You can eat a token of enemies, including scenario tokens. Yeah, I literally just said the next person to come up with some ass backwards, like, dumb shit explanation for how this card can be not terrible. And then you literally walked into it head first. It's a fucking predator. And even if it wasn't, what is the point? Just put a card in your deck in case you run into Harmony. And you have it in your hand. And they play the card. And they let you boost your monkey to be 9 power. And they don't kill it. Yeah, okay. How stupid do you have to be? No, you're not stupid. What it is like, there's this thing that happens, okay? I've seen it in politics, I've seen it everywhere. There's this idea that somehow is ingrained to people's brains from childhood or something, this idea of too bad to be true. The devs can't possibly be this stupid or out of touch, or George Bush can't possibly be just an idiot. No, he's playing 5D chess. Like, stop it. Sometimes people are just dumb, lazy, or out of touch. It happens. Some things are black and white. Move the fuck on. And if you just got to my stream right now, and you see that we've been talking for 2 hours, and clearly we're in the middle of the patch notes, and you think that by saying something like, Addus trigger can be used on enemy tokens, you're going to sound smart because you think you're the first person to have thought of this or bring this to my attention. I'm sorry, but you need to reevaluate what you consider valuable insight. or what you think makes you look good. Because it doesn't, and it isn't. Alpha Werewolf. So this used to be a Thrive immune unit. That's it. 6 for 6. Now it's has the curse tag. Did it lose the beast tag, or did they just add curse to it? No, they added curse to all these cards to make you not want to play them even more. Because you run into that one clown NR player who's playing the Devotion Ada, and then you just want to quit and uninstall Gwent and open up Snap or some other game that clearly doesn't hate you. They just added it? Okay. So it's still a beast. Hopefully. Power changed from 6 to 4. Okay. Provision cost changed from 6 to 8. Another 6p monster. Like, give me good 6p and 7p monster cards. 5, 6, and 7 are atrocious. We already have Riptide. We have Cursed Toad. We don't need another 8p cursed unit. Ability change to deploy melee. Boost a beast in your hand by the number of cards in your hand. So you're going to use this on Striga to boost it, so that you can then eat a token. Because you're hoping your opponent will have tokens. So first, it's like a mentally damaged Terror of the Seas. Like, that's already bad card design. People hate playing pirates. People with more than double-digit IQ hate playing pirates because, like, if you have your Terror of the Seas in your starting hand, wow, good for you. If you don't, get fucked, right? So now, for this to work, you have to have the monkey in your hand, queue into somebody that has tokens, hope your tokens will be tall, hope that you have this in your hand so you can play this at the beginning of the round to boost the monkey by 9, and now you have a 15-point monkey that's going to consume another card and then get heat waved anyway? No, Morva's old ability was boost all beasts on the board. Morva's old ability was good. The problem was you weren't playing a lot of cards that would create beasts, like because you would like those cards were either going to have synergy with Death Wish or like with Thrive, but not both. And so you would be playing like kind of a Frankenstein deck. But Morvad itself was fantastic. Morvad was like a 6 body and up to 18 points, right? Like, beautiful card. The range ability says boost all allied beasts by 1. Wasn't Morvad by 2 though? Or am I misremembering? Before this was a relic. Morvad was changed in 3.1 and then it was changed again in 11.6. Oh, it was. So they gave us the old Morvad ability back. Wait. But Morvad used to be 8p. Literally gave us the old Morvad. Well, with a different melee ability. Okay, so it's a more versatile Morvad. It's playable. So it plays for 17 if you play it as the first card. And then also it can also play for no, power is 4. So it's worse than the old Morvad. Old Morvad was 6 power, 8 provisions. It's worse than the old Morvad. They nerfed Morvad. A card that literally saw so little play, it got reworked. The ranged version of it is nerfed. It literally is. You're only going to play this for melee. Because you weren't playing the ranged version before. Morvad was always deploy. What are you talking about? This was always deploy. Caddy, you're timed out from this conversation. See you in an hour. You're literally trolling. Like, before, we had Morva at 8 provision, 6 power. And it was like, and it boosted all beasts by 1. And it was literally never played in a proper deck. So what did they do? They reworked it. Now they're putting that on Alpha Werewolf with 4 power instead of 6. What the fuck? We should read Werewolf, they said. Boost self by an enemy unit's power. What the hell does this have to do with Alpha Werewolf? No, I can read that there's a melee ability. I'm just saying, like, when you have a card that has a melee and ranged ability, they both need to be playable in some situation. And this range ability was never playable when this was 6 power. Now it's 4 power. How am I supposed to be okay with this? Again, I'm not talking about the melee part of it. I understand there's synergies with this. I understand this is a lot of points and carryover. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this. This that was on an 8 provision, 6 power card that never got... Just delete this. Just remove this. It would be less insulting if this wasn't on the card. If this card would just brick when I have nothing in hand, I would be happier than them giving me this. Because why are you giving me something that was shit before, but for less points now? I did read Werewolf. It doesn't change anything about this. What am I missing? Thank you. So this is just garbage and insulting. You could argue that because it's less likely to brick now. No, it's not. Because if there was a long round, melee is good. And therefore range is also good. If it's the short round, they're both shit. They're both shit. So this doesn't make the card any less brickable. It's just an like, I don't get it. It used to be a 6 that boosted all beasts. Now it's a 4 that boosts all beasts. How is this any good? Also, why is it all beasts? Would the game really break if it was all units? Or all beasts and insectoids? Like, really? Are we that scared? Of a 4+? They could have at least make it boost all beasts by 2. Something. Better than a 4. Yes. A -5 is better than a -10. So can you please give me $5 right now? Since that's better than you giving me $10? Go ahead. Do it. It's better. Can I have one of your kidneys instead of both of them? Because losing one kidney is better than losing 2. What kind of logic is that? And like, okay, let's talk about Werewolf, all right? Since everybody's like, you know, waxing eloquent about, but you gotta read the synergy. I don't know if Shinmiri went on something about how Werewolf has good synergy with Alpha Werewolf now, and so that's why everybody's brainwashed into thinking it's good. It's not, it's shit. What does this do now? Change from 5 to 4. Whatever. Predator. Ability Predator. Boost self by an enemy unit's power. So this is literally garbage unless you hand buffed it with the other card. That's a goal that you have to draw and have this in your hand. Like, does anybody like playing games where they don't draw Kashi and therefore their Karantir is useless? Is that a fun type of deck to have in a faction? Like, how many times have you lost with relics because you didn't draw self-eaters? Like, it's so dumb. Did monsters really need more? Have this card in your hand or you lose in a faction that has the least tools for putting cards in your hand? It's just dumb. Stop defending this garbage. Who put the idea in your head that somehow this makes the other one better? I need their name. Was it a content creator? Was it some idiot in somebody's chat? Who was it? Who made you think this somehow makes the other card good? All the other streamers are toxic positive? Well, you know, because CDPR doesn't... Alpha Werewolf is good carryover still. I'm not playing Werewolf. I mean... it has the curse tag. Is there something else with curse tag that I'm not aware of? In terms of power, like, I agree this card is viable, this Alpha Werewolf. I can see playing it in lots of situations, right? Because like, if you have it early on, it's good, but otherwise it's bad. I just wish that the design wasn't so moronic. Like it's 8 provisions, okay? If I'm putting an 8 provision card in my deck, I need it to not be so one-dimensional and brickable. This is literally hope you drew it in round 1 or you lose. Because most of, like, if you're playing something, like, monsters don't have control, right? So against a lot of other decks, the way that you defeat cheese or you counterplay them is by getting tempo. By getting round control and then bleeding. So, like, if I win round 1 and I have 5 cards left, which is like a standard way to win round 1, I'll have 8 in the next round. I'll play this and it will play for 4 tempo and 7 carryover. That's 11 for 8. Axel is 11 for 7. Like, All God is 5 plus 6 to 10 carryover. Axel is carryover because you can Fukusia it for 21 points. Not to count the alchemy value either. And Axel can be carryover if you play it in the range row. Axel on the range row is a different option. You can play for carryover in a Crow's deck. Like, that's what I mean. That's a card that is like almost never bricks, has more than one use. You can use it for tempo or for carryover, and it's 7 provisions. Here's the equivalent card to that in Monsters. 8 provisions, has 2 abilities, both of which are way worse in a short round, so it can definitely brick. This one is only like good in round 1 or round 2 if you have lots of cards. This one is only good in a long round if you have lots of beasts and that weren't deleted. Like, so many conditions. It is 4 power, 8 provisions. What the fuck? Nova is 18 for 9. Come on, you know this. Sorry, 16 for 9. Because it's 8 points this round and 8 points next round, unless it's answered. You can boost NSAs with this card, yes.
You need people like me.
It's different types of cards. Fine. Well, Bjorn is better carryover than this. Because Bjorn can answer stuff. And Bjorn has synergy with Scenario. And Bjorn has synergy with Croc on Crate. And Bjorn has synergy with Armorsmith. What the fuck synergy does this have with anything other than the Insult Monkey and the Werewolf of boosting yourself by an enemy unit's power? Like, a 4 provision finisher? Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, no, you can't buff NSAs with this because it's not a beast. It only works on a beast! It's limited to beasts! Have you looked at the beasts and monsters? Really? Am I gonna boost my Night Wraith? Or my Forktail? Am I boosting the Harpy Egg? What the fuck? Isn't stat good enough? 4 plus 9. If you have it as, if you play it, it's like an Eager, okay? Eager is a 15 for 10, right? And Eager lets you do an Oz roll. Okay? That has a card that has downsides. You have, but Eager, you can play as red coin at the after your opponent passes. This you have to play at the beginning. Like your first card is decided. Well, what if they played a Banarch student, right? What if they played a Centurion Envoy? Like, what if they played something you need to answer? Well, then you can't play this card. You got to play something else. Like, that's the problem. A card that is only good when played in round 1 as your first, like you can't have a lot of those cards in a faction that doesn't have leaders like tactical decisions and pincer maneuver. It just doesn't work well in MO decks. Cards can't be so niche and situational in monsters. Like all the best monster decks have a bunch of cards that can be played in any order. Deathwish, right? Ogreoids, Wild Hunt Frost. Like there's not this like intricate Fabergé egg. Like I know because I love building those kinds of decks and they're just not good. Okay, all the best decks are like Lirio style. Trusky piles, right? Like, right? Just Smork. Just Smork with Deathwish and Erendite. Just Smork with Relics. Like, that's how you make a good monster deck. And, like, the faction has no finesse. So putting in cards that are like, oh, this is really good in this specific situation, and it will boost the beast. Like, I have to have a beast in my hand. I have to have 9 cards in my hand. I have to have blue coin, or just, it's just... Morvat is a relic now. It used to be a beast. Now it got changed to relic. You can't boost... Like, you can boost Tatterwing, I guess. So, this is for a Tatterwing deck. More cheesy bullshit. Monster the cheesy bullshit faction. This is a card to rage over? I think it is, because it's symptomatic of a lot of the design... I don't know. Insult's not the right word. I'm not saying this is the weakest card. Like, because the thing is, Puzzle, power and provision and stats can be adjusted easily. So, I care about the mechanics of the card. Like, I look at Alpha Werewolf and I think to myself, if this was 6 provisions and 9 power, would I play it? Yeah. But would it be a good design? No. Still no. It's still clunky as fuck. I still wouldn't enjoy it. I'd play it because you have to. The same reason I don't really enjoy playing Egern. Like, it's like a card that's in my hand that's like, I want to play it early maybe, but like as one of my first 2 cards for me to get armor value, except against some decks that doesn't even do anything, and like not against decks that have a Yenvo, and like, so like in a Thrive deck, do I play my Necker first or my Egern first? Because you want the Egern because it's tall, because it helps your Thrive, and later it helps your Ozrel, which helps your Thrive. But like, it just always feels awkward, right? It's slightly unpleasant. Summarize patch in 5 words. Out of touch devs dumb. No, you gotta spell summarize with a Z. That's the proper spelling. Final fuck you from devs. Yeah, that's a good one. I think this is best in next where you can tempo pass round 1. Yeah, like Deathwish. Monster is the Smork blue coin faction. Like, I like the point you're making, Puzzle, which is that whenever you have a deck that like jams a lot of points, and like can't really help it but do that. Like Deathwish, you want to thin. Like you never save your Brewess for a round 2 bleed. Almost never, right? Because if you save it for a round 2 bleed, you're also not getting the thinning value from it, or the earn value from it. So like you can't help but go up in points, right? Similarly, maybe Ogoroids. You want to establish might if you have Riptide in your hand to start building that carryover. And like vampires, you want to bleed so your Regis can start growing. So like you don't really have a choice when it comes to tempo the way that, let's say, Syndicate has a choice. Like Syndicate can choose not to put out points. They can just opt for carryover instead, right? So Manu, stop it. What was I saying? I don't know. But you can just stay muted for a while. Just name dropping me like a fucking groupie all day. And almost never saying anything useful or funny. Right. Yeah, you feel less bad about overcommitting from Bluecoin because at least you can build some carryover. Sure. So what beasts are there in monsters, right? In a legit deck, which is a Deathwish deck. There's Toad. This is not a beast. This is just called the Beast, right? This isn't played. This is shit. Not a beast. Not played in Deathwish. Not played in Deathwish. This is the card we're talking about. This is a beast, but also not played because it goes tall and doesn't have any protection from tall punish. Not played. Not played. This is a beast, but you generally want this thinned out of your deck in round 1. You don't want it in your hand, so it doesn't count. Giant Toad. Again, you want this. You want to play this in round 1. You don't want to hand buff it for carryover. This. But even then, like, this you want to play in a round where you can play both of them. And like, this you're not going to play in Deathwish. It just isn't played in Deathwish. This isn't played. So what card are you buffing with the Alpha Werewolf? For carryover, exactly. What's the new Giga Buster card? I don't know, Spira. Regis Bloodlust got reworked. You can read that card and laugh a bit. Any in hand, really? So if you have a Toad in hand, that's the only one I see. It's either a Toad or a Siren. I don't see any other cards. Like, literally none of these other cards are in a Deathwish deck. Either a Toad Prince, a Giant Toad, or a Siren. That's it. If you don't have any of those, you don't. Harpy? I guess. Harpy. Like, ideally it would be Toad Prince, Harpy, and Siren. But Siren, you're gonna mulligan. You want to mulligan this, usually. It's just like, if it's taking us 10 minutes to find a good use for this card that just got reworked from never being played, do you see why I'm disappointed? And even then, it's only like Bluecoin Deathwish. Like, we already have a deck for Bluecoin Deathwish. Can we fix some of the 75 other things that aren't working? Play round 2 after tempo. As part of the value bleed for a short round 3? Right. Okay, fine. But again, Death Wish is a viable deck and it has a good short round. What problem did this solve? If I have a limited number of things I can do before I hand something over and leave it, I'm going to prioritize the things that have the most impact that solve problems. What problem does this Alpha Werewolf solve? Is it making Beast viable? I don't know. Let's read the other changes. But so far, I'm not sold. Here's Morntart. Low tier 2 deck probably. Okay. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, folks. I'll just leave it at that. Armor change from 4 to 0. Let's make sure we don't accidentally leave any perks. Provision cost change from 7 to 10. I'm moving on. I will just say this. I will simply leave you with this image. And move the fuck on. No comment. No comment on Morntart. Yeah, it's good that it's deployed, but it still banishes all your units in your graveyard. So it has a huge downside. It's 1 per unit. Flaminica doesn't even banish anything. Doesn't banish a Fucusia or like nothing. It does, or Kelpie or whatever. Flaminica has a 6 body, is 7 provisions, like works with Roach, and like it's just like they reworked a card that was a playable meme card into a cost prohibit. Like how much have I been saying monsters don't have good 5, 6, and 7 provision cards? And every change in this patch is literally removing a 5, 6, or 7 provision card and making them 8, 9, 10. Like it's like they were like listening to me and they're like, let's do the opposite of what that guy said because fuck him. What does he know? Ugh. Let's talk about Plague Maiden. Plague Maiden will save us. Alright, so current Plague Maiden ability. Order. Oh, sorry. Current. It has no ability. It's 7 points, 10 provisions. And if you consume it, it gives you 7 rats. So it's a conditional 14 for 10, sort of. Because you have to use a consume, and consumes cost money. Consumes are not free. And it takes 8 spots on the row. You know? So, whatever. Ugh. This was played with like Caranthier sometimes because it's 10. Do you see Penitent on the screen, Kalamanopi? Have we got to it yet? No, we're talking about Plague Maiden. I don't know why this part's so hard. I'm going to go through the patch notes card by card. We'll talk about all of them. When I'm talking about a card, ask any questions about that card you want. Destroy a rat, then poison an enemy unit. So ability now includes. Does this mean it still has the Death Wish? Or is the Death Wish gone? Hi, Eddie. Yeah, it can't be changed to 10 provision if it's already 10 provisions. So it's an engine with a Death Wish. Where do you get the rats? This is like the catch-22 of cards. The way you get the rats is from the Plague Maiden. Or Night Wraith, or Noon Wraith, or Were-Rat, yes. But again, Were-Rat is like, please lock or remove me. I don't take Were-Rat seriously as a card, because fundamentally, like, because it has such a high ceiling, it's an always remove target. Do you think we're gonna play Night Wraith? Sabbath deck? Did you know, Puzzle, that the order that the Were-Rat comes out if you have another 6 power card is fucking random? We did a bunch of tests trying to figure out if there was some logic to it, like order cards come out first before you can trigger her death wish. What, with Abaya? Come on, guys. I don't know. I'm in the Kareem school of thought, which is that Abaya is a Giga Troll card, and if it's working, you're an idiot or your opponent's an idiot, and even if it does work sometimes, it doesn't make it a good card. Like it. You want to use Abaya on a gold. A gold Death Wish unit is an AQ, or in this case, Plague Maiden. If somebody lets you have one of those on the board for more than one turn, they're trolling, or you already won. Like, it's like some matchups it will work, some matchups it will just be a brick. And I don't like these low floor, high ceiling cards. I just don't. I know that maybe mathematically it's fine because the average is positive. I just hate games where my cards are shit. So, if we had Ritual Sacrifice, okay. If you have Urn with Redea or something, fine. But destroy a rat, then poison an enemy unit. So you play some King Cobras in this deck? And a Moral? Noon Wraiths? Yeah, let me play a 4/4 that requires a consume to give opponent a rat so I can eat their rat and negate the -2 that I created. Really? Well, there's like no other synergy than just this. Like, even Syndicate doesn't really like playing poisons without the ability to single turn poison stuff. Do we really think... I guess this is single turn poisonable. Because if you have a King Cobra in hand and this on the board... Oh my god, Puzzle. Do you see a lot of triple 2 go on the ladder? No? This is the same as you won't see triple Plague Maiden on the ladder either. I don't want triple whatever to be the way that the archetype gets viable. I want mid-range MO. Can I have just some mid-range MO? Some decks that are that like aren't too greedy or cheesy and can answer some cheesy shit and can just trade with opponents and sometimes have win cons that are based on some synergy but like not all in on it. Did I miss any other cards? No. Wait. So Moshcraft's not 7 anymore. Why are people asking me about Penitent? Did you guys think that what was holding Penitent back was the fact that you couldn't put Adastriga in the same deck? Strong to Sigrid into more could be a lot of points. No, it couldn't. Because if it was, we would have already been doing it. Like, Morntard not living wasn't the problem. The problem was that even when it worked, it wasn't enough points to justify everything else you did to get it. And now you're playing an extra 3 provisions. Like, making this stick wasn't a problem. You just play Carapace and give it Veil. And now it's got 4 armor and 4 power. That was never the issue. The issue with Morntard has always been that the payoff isn't worth the effort. I thought there was a change to Penitent the way you guys were talking. What is Penitent? Good question. Penitent is a 7p Thrive unit with a Death Wish that summons a random 7 provision cost card from your deck. So this used to be played back before it was Power Crept to all hell. Usually it was played with Pugo and the Beast. These were the 2 cards that were played with Penitent because you would consume Penitent and one of these would come out. Nowadays you can play it with these 2, right? And you can play like Urn of Shadows and consume this and get both of them out of your deck. And it's a lot of tempo. But like, nothing has changed with Penitent at all. Like, you could never play Penitent with Crones because these all have deploys, right? So Penitent pulling Ratcatchers was never a thing because you wanted to play these guys. I had a deck with Penitent as a way to pull Morntard, because it was like an alternate win con for the deck. But like, again, nobody was like, oh, I want to play Penitent. I wish I could. But the Adastriga in my deck is so valuable that I can't. No, you just didn't play this. Like, if Penitent was good before, it would be good now. Nothing has changed. So, yeah. Penitent was shit, is shit. Like, make it cheaper. Something. I don't know. Make it Thrive too. Make it... It's just weird to have a Thrive... Like, having it a Death Wish unit... Like... It's like Monsters, the damned if you do, damned if you don't faction, right? They see it as like... Like, other factions get like... This card is like good, but it can be really good, right? Monsters get like... You can shoot yourself in the foot, or you can shoot yourself in the face. Which would you like? Like, those are my choices. Like, they always have these weird trade-offs and limitations. Like, oh, well, you can do this, but also give your units Doomed and Rupture. And those cards, like, I play 2 cards and draw 2 cards, and I can play Kelvit beforehand to know what I'm drawing. Sup. Also, less provisions. It's so dumb. No, somebody else. It wasn't you, bro. It was Kalamanopi who was asking about Penitent. They were asking, is Penitent broken now? As in, like, I don't know if they meant broken as in good or broken as in bad, but nothing has changed for Penitent because, well, except for using Penitent to tutor Morntard. One thing that is better about Morntard now is that you can play it as last say. Before you had to play it the turn before last. Although you could play Petrie's Filter before, so it wasn't a big deal. Puzzle. Man, I already have a headache from yelling. Stop fucking with me, please. I know it's fun, but like, I'm exhausted now. Power changed from 4 to 2. It has Predator. So like they give you a poison, but it's Predator. So like I wish I had 7. If monsters had like 16 cards like Alpha Werewolf, sure. Great. Look, I'm looking forward to the, as Puzzle says, tier 2. Rolling my eyes doing backflips right now. Deck with like beasts and shit and poisons. Good luck, sir. Go play it and come back and apologize. Or prove me wrong. I don't know. It's just... You're smarter than me. I don't fucking know anymore. AQ poison. But it says adjacent beast. Where are you gonna get your beast from? And like, is poisoning a 6 power, sorry, a 5 or less card really worth it? We can't boost the cockroaches with the monkey. We have to boost the cockroaches with the werewolf. But we also have to boost the werewolf with the werewolf. And we also have to boost, like, the Adastriga with the... Like, there's one werewolf! Better than playing King Cobra? No, because King Cobra doesn't have Predator! King Cobra's better! Look, if you're poisoning a card that's less than 4 power, you're losing points. Or, that was in the Trinet days. That was Trinet's rule. Like, it was like, if you're using a Fang on a unit that's less, like a Fistek, or a Fang on a unit that's like less than 8, it's not good. Nowadays, 4 provision cards play for 8 points. So like, what are we talking about here? This has Predator. If I have the 2 beasts on the board already, this can, like, what am I gonna play? Bedlam in Monsters? Like, am I playing All God Bedlam Monster Offering? Is that how I'm supposed to play monsters now? Hand buff with a faction that has no hand buffs? Fair, I don't know, but that's why I'm doing it right now, literally, right? So I don't know what you want from me. But I am not CDPR. Go ask them why they don't know how to communicate. But I'm doing my best to show you the pictures of the card before and after. Like, what do you want? Right. Iris. Thanks. I hadn't thought of Iris. It just boosts them by 1. So now instead of poisoning a 5, I poison a 6. Woo! I played 2 cards to remove a 6 power card, assuming you didn't purify it in between. Go me! And also, this cockatrice has to be in your deck when you play the Iris thing, because Iris doesn't boost the cards in your hand. Like, yeah, I'll play Shoop. I'll make a Shoop deck. And then I'll play Rune Mage first. So opponent played a Marine, okay? I got this. Hold on. Just tell him to wait 6 turns. Because I got to play Rune Mage. And then I got to play an Alpha Werewolf. And then I got to play Cockatrice. Then I got to play Were-Rat. Then I got to play a Noon Wraith so I can get some rats on the board and hope that opponent will defend in front of the rats, or doesn't kill them, or doesn't boost them, and then I'm going to kill the rat, and then the rat is going to let me poison something, and then I'm going to play Cockatrice to poison the thing. Fuck! No! This is worse than the Slave Trader. I'd rather just play Moral and 2 King Cobras. Why wouldn't I play Moral and 2 King Cobras? Instead of like the 16-step process. Like, this thing has more steps than a mortgage application. Gain vitality equal to the total duration of frost on your opponent's side of the battlefield, and infuse an enemy with the, at the end of your turn, if there's an enemy, NL Slave Trader with higher power than your own, set own power to 1, then log self. What? Who wrote this? I'm scaring my cat. I need a break. You can cock my tris. Noon Wraith only puts rats on the opponent's row if you consume it. It's a Death Wish ability. It's always been like that. It's been like that for like 2, 3, 4 years. That card is so power crept. It's like in the basement of the attic of the cellar of the power creep of the... I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's just some Polish devs being really dumb. Okay, it's fine. This is Night Wraith. Poor guy. He's getting scared. On the brighter side of things, soon there will be no more MO chains. What does chain mean? Yeah. Oh my god. These are so shit. The only change here that I like is Plague Maiden having some sort of plague involved. But like, where is the Endrega? That like, there's a card called Acid Spit that doesn't poison things. Right? There's neutrals like Devil's Puffball. You think they want you to play with Think from the box? No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't think like they don't know how to think. The word think doesn't have any meaning in that sentence you just wrote. If they were capable of thought, these wouldn't be the patch notes. All right. I'm gonna put chapter markers. No, they don't, Chich. Again, that implies, like, saying they want to kill this game ASAP implies that they have the capability to predict what consequences their actions will have. That requires understanding the game enough to know that what they're changing isn't good. They don't know. Okay? Don't assume malice when stupidity is a perfectly adequate explanation. They literally don't understand how these things work. Alright, let's talk about Nilfgaard. Here's Vilgefortz. Wait, where is he? Sorry. I got confused with one of the other 16 tall punishes that Nilfgaard has. Melee deploy will change to destroy an enemy unit, then your opponent summons the top bronze unit from their deck to a random enemy row. Can someone tell me if this goes on the Nilfgaard player's side or no? I missed one card in monsters? Which card? No, I talked about all of them. Talked about werewolf, alpha werewolf. We talked about werewolf when we talked about alpha werewolf. This is only good because this is like an 8 for 4. Sorry, this is a 7 for 4 unless you've hand buffed it. And I don't like hand buff requirement on a 4P bronze. Okay, so Vilga just mills a bronze from my deck. Like, opponent Vilga's my Egern. It will pull a bronze from my deck to a random row. Is that correct? Thank you. That's a good change. Great. Now make the same change for Traherne. Now you really hate CDPR? Why? If you have no bronzes in deck? Okay, but that's always been true for Vilgefortz. That's why Vilgefortz's been played in Mill. And it can still break your Renfree's gang, which will be infuriating. But it's an improvement over today. Like, the stuff I was raging about with monsters, most of them are not an improvement. Wormtart is not an improvement. It plays for the same amount of points, but it costs 10 provisions. You guys understand that, right? And it also, like, lost the armor. More chances to hit Priestess? Good. Screw Priestess. No, it's a good change. I'm not just negative to be negative. This is a good change. What the hell is a Deathwane Arbalest? Oh, this thing. I like getting this from Rune Mage when I'm playing Vamps. Because it gives bleeding. So currently, it says, give an enemy unit bleeding 3. Conspiracy, damage it by 3 instead. Right? Which is kind of silly. Nobody plays it. Because, like, compared to other Nilfgaard bronzes, this isn't good enough to see play. Yeah, but Burholm, this isn't like a general bitching place. We're discussing the patch notes. Vilga the Reach Bloodlust, but Vilga will not get gold anymore, Astigos. Oh, you're saying they changed Vilgaforce to prevent Regis? What? The Regis Bloodlust was? No, that's not. There's no way. Vilga's been pulling out King of Beggars since the dawn of time. It's not like a 4P Thirsty Dame. Oh. This is better than a Thirsty Dame. It says during your turn at least. At least it says during your turn. Shinmiri said that's... Are you kidding me? Do they think that the game exists with only the cards that they are modifying each patch? Like, do they forget that other cards exist? Oh man, I really wanted to think you guys were making this up. So you're telling me that the reason Vilgefortz finally got changed after so many years is because of the dumbest card they've ever designed? And they didn't want it to be countered? Yeah, you just play this and a pikeman. I mean, but you could always do that with dames. This is just a 4P dame now. Oh yeah, this does kill your cows, doesn't it? Wait, how does this not kill your own cows? There's one real sicko in the team. Yeah. I mean, this is giga busted and stupid and annoying. I'm not saying it will be competitive, but it will be fucking annoying to play against. Yeah, it's well, yes, it's an NG onager. Yes, like actually this is perfectly a good analogy. Well said, Killer Bee. This is a 4 provision Nilfgaard onager. So it will like instantly kill any spy. It will kill any cow. And pikemen now do double damage. Like this with Tibor will do like 1,000,000 points of damage. Yeah, because Tibor makes it so it doubles the yeah. Art Fane? Which Art Fane? That's an entire faction within Nilfgaard. Which, unlike the monster sub-archetypes or sub-factions, what? How does Art Fane mon you? What? This? I don't get it. Which Art Fane? Gorther Gavade? Oh, you're talking about... Oh, yeah, sorry. Sure. Yes, it also does. Yeah. Because this needed more value when it sticks in a deck that way. Oh my god. They're just obsessed with making status NG. Like, it's like somebody's bonus is tied to status NG's play rate. Every single patch, they get another buff. Like, they got new units, they got Rompali, they got Catronia, they got that other infusion thing, they got Bacala. They just keep getting card after card after card and buff after buff after buff. Meanwhile, we get Alpha Werewolf and Adastriga. I don't, there's no point. What a fucking stupid patch. I never thought I'd say this, but this might be the stupidest patch in my recent memory. Let's take a look at Northern Realms, I guess. Banard Tutor. This was already a 6 for 4. Power change from 2 to 4. Provision cost change from 4 to 5. Whenever you play a unique special card, boost self by 2. Scoia'tael support? So it's like a Johnny that boosts itself? We're gonna go in order, Henry. So this is gonna come down as 4 or 5. And if it lives, it's like a worse scribe? I don't get it. I don't get this card change at all. A unique special card. Like, so like it's once per each special. So like if you play a bombardment, it boosts by 2. If you play a second bombardment, it doesn't do anything. This is bad. It's better right now. This makes the card worse. Am I missing something? Yeah, this is worse than a Croclan Preacher. Right? Whatever, CDPR. Like, you're drunk. Go home. Cadwini Sergeant. Currently, it has Formation. Boosts an ally unit by 1 with 2 charges. It almost never sees play. The number of charges changed from 2 to 3 because Onager needs more love. And that's it. So now, but... it will be a 6 for 4, which I think is fine. The floor of a 4 provision bronze being 6 is fine with me. Of course, that only applies if you're not an MO card. That's why Neckers are 2. Have a floor of 2. Also, this has a floor of, because of formation, it's easily 7 for 6, 7 for 4. And if you have an Onager, it's more than that. But those points go to the Onager. I'm not one of those people who counts, like, effects something has on some other card as part of this card. This card has 3 charges. Charges have synergy, sure. But those points belong to Onager, and Onager should get nerfed. Onager should be, like, 8p. And 5 power or something. Or at the very least, Onager should be 6p. Like, Onager's too broken. Onager's better than Flutter. Which one are you scared of more, a Necrorat or an Onager? Like, okay, Reaver Scout. This is a change that I didn't see coming because they already nerfed this from 4 to 5p. Provision cost changed from 5 to 6. And they're not boosting its power at all to compensate. So this is another answer or lose card that you're going to play with Zeal anyway. So it's always going to be boosted to 4 with 1 armor. It will make like Reavers in Muta deck kind of have some synergy with Scouts. But not really in a way that matters. It makes Reaver Scouts worse in a Muta Abuse deck. But you just won't play the Reaver Scouts anymore. You just play other 5Ps. It won't change anything about how dumb Muta is. It will change a little bit about how Sentry Royal Guards are dumb. But again, you usually didn't want to play this in round... You wanted to save these for round 3. Usually you played 1 in round 1, 1 in round 3, and then people learned how to deal with that and just abuse... Like, they would kill this immediately in round 3, and you only got 1 copy from it. Good change, but not the right change. The right change is that Bronza shouldn't be able to create cards and play them. Like, Slave Driver and Reaver Scout have caused so many problems in the past year that I don't know how you can look at it objectively and say they weren't a mistake design-wise. Only Gold should do that. I also think only Gold should be able to lock a card down permanently. I think it's silly that like a Van Morlehem or Alba that can be copied and replayed and blah 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 can like lock down an Unseen Elder. I just think it's dumb. Like, I think if you want to lock a gold, you should be able to. You should use a gold. Or a bronze lock should only last like 2 turns or something. Like a pesky Van Morlehem should be able to distract, you know, Oriana for 1 or 2 turns, but it shouldn't lock it down forever. She's a fucking goddess, and he's a servant. Like what? Yeah, mutagen. This won't be played in mutagen decks anymore, I don't think. Except for like as a round 3 card for copying your scouts. Maybe. I mean, it's still good because it still gives you 1 more proc. It doesn't give you 2 more procs. So maybe you'll still see it played. It's still a good card, and those decks have provisions to spare. They've always had provisions to spare. Like in the Golden Neckard version, you're just like, I don't know, what 9P cards can I play? You just throw a bunch of them in. Any deck that runs Defender has, you know, has free spare provisions. Yeah, Vikito, that could also be interesting. Spawn, the last bronze you played? Spawn? Eh. Ow, 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 ow. Ow. You hoping for Curse and Ari works? Yeah. That's because you were thinking logically, Kadimazi. Stop it. Temerian Infantry. The finest of Temerian's finest. Where is Temerian Infantry? Oh, these guys. Yeah, this was garbage. So here's the before. Damage an enemy unit by 1 for each boosted unit on this row. So it was like an Uprising card, kind of. And like, sure, it could damage something by 8. But like, Serquan does that, but for all units. And Wolfpack boosts self by number of units. So this was like not really getting played. So it's changed to having formation and an order. Boost an allied unit by 2 for each remaining charge of your leader ability. What? Why? So this will be a 13 if you played Radovid and you have 5 leader charges? That's insane. Why? Why do we need a 13 for 5? Especially when it's a boost in NR. That's a terrible change. We haven't talked about ST yet. Anti-Sim with the new Radovid? No one's gonna play the new Radovid. It's Devotion. I don't know, man. I feel emotionally drained from reading these patch notes. Alright, let's talk about scoia'tael. lots and lots of changes to dwarves as expected to make them viable. Oh wait. All we have is a Vryhead Saboteur. It's this one, right? No, that's Solvatana. Okay. Oh, it's this one? The Trap Girl? No? Oh, this is like a strong card right now. Like, well, if you get it from Scenario, it was playing for a lot because it had 3 tags, and it would boost. It was playing for 6 plus 3, so it was like 9 points. Not to mention all the harmony procs. I'm sorry, Masticus. I'm old and slow. But currently, yeah, it's gonna change. If you control an artifact, spawn an Elven Deadeye on this row. Okay. It makes sense. Of course, it's being buffed, but if they wanted it to be played, this is the amount of buff you need to give a 4P unit these days. It will get played in Elves deck. More ways for them to spawn Deadeyes. Like a Deadeye is 5 or 6 points minimum. More with Verno. Each Deadeye is worth a lot. Isengrim, etc. MO players can't read. The tears from how CDPR treats them get in the way. It's not tears, Mastigos. It's bruising and swelling around the eye from getting punched there repeatedly. Alright. That was ST. So there was a question about what is your opinion about dwarves and vampires next patch? They seem pretty weak to me. Yes. Vampires aren't getting any stronger. The new cards don't change anything. I look forward to being proven wrong by ladder. And then dwarves, it's hard to say. I think dwarves will be made better. The new location is good, and the new thinning card is good, and I think people are underestimating the thinning card. Also, Armor's Workshop change is huge. We should probably look at this deck later. This is a deck we put together for in anticipation. We're gonna I'm gonna take out Heatwave and Knickers and put in like the new Thin Air and the new scenario, the new location. But I didn't have Armor's Workshop in here because I was planning on playing 4 Temperings with Simless. But it might be that we use Simless to play 4 Armor's Workshop, because Armor's Workshop buff is huge. Like the first one will play for 6 points and 6 armor, which is like almost basically 10 points, I think, in dwarves. And the next one will play for another 3 points and another 3 armor, which is really 2 points, because I'm just counting Cranmere, so it's, you know. Nine and 6, 15. Like 15 for 5 is really good. So I'll be looking for a way to fit those in. Probably cut Marauder. And then I'll have Seers and I'll try to replay the Armor's Workshops with Alyssa. They're like the new Equinox. So I think dwarves will be, you'll see a lot of dwarves. How much, like how good they will be, I don't know, but I think it will definitely be worth trying out. All right. Marker, SK. So let's talk about our favorite island boys. Udalryk, which recently won me a game when I got it from, I got Udalryk from Delirium. It was kind of fun. Power changed from 4 to 8. Oh boy. Same provision. So it's going to stay at 6 provision, be 8 power. Order. Berserk 7. Set an enemy's unit power to match own power. Huh. So you can damage this to make it a 1, and then use it on an enemy to set it to 1. As long as it's 7 or lower. This is a very interesting card now. It might be too strong, honestly, at 6p. It won't be very useful in Patch Out of Fury, I don't think. I don't know. I'm afraid to look at that clip. Is that your submission to the clip giveaway? If you guys don't know, I'm doing a giveaway for your favorite clips. We have a subathon on the 16th, and we'll decide the winner there. Why doesn't Nightbot work? Yeah, it can be a recent one. Alright, give it to Sam if you want it to be included in the contest. For whatever reason, my command doesn't work, but I'm giving away $50 to the chat's favorite clip. Yeah. I mean, the floor is also different now. It used to be 4 plus 3. Now it's 8. Like, it's just a straight up buff, which, to be fair, the card kind of needed. But a 6 provisions is strong. Then do it. There we go. Because, like, the reason I'm doing the giveaway isn't like because I think people need money. I really need clips, and it would help me provide good content if I have people's favorite clips. So don't feel bad about like participating in a contest or something. If you want to give your winning to charity, that's on you. Demon Pirate Captain. Great. I didn't even know this was a card. Damage enemy unit by 1. Bloodthirst 2. Damage it by 3 instead. Okay, this was just terrible. It was like the SK Cockatrice. Is it even better than Wolfsbane? Yes, because it has a body. Right, Caddy? And also, presumably, when you're hurting your own unit, you're getting something else out of it. Like you're putting it next to a Svalbard Priest, or you've played Svalgod, or you use Canute on it or something. And then you can restore it afterwards. I don't know. It's not, I mean, 14-point restore isn't bad for a 5p card. Self-damage synergy has always been an interesting thing to me. I think it's much more fun than like I kill everything you play. We may play it with Witchers and Offering to the Sea. Yeah, but we need like Herald to stick or a couple of Quartermasters to get it low enough. Like, because just Berserk 7 isn't... Like, setting an enemy unit to 7 isn't very good. Most things aren't that much taller than 7. But yeah. Deploy Bloodthirst 2, gain Zeal. Order, damage unit by 1, charges 3. So this is getting the old Udalric ability. And Udalric used to be Bloodthirst 3, gain Zeal. So this is now a 4 provision Udalric. With a Bloodthirst 2 requirement instead of a 3. So this is a better Udalric. This is kind of really good. Because Brockmore Warrior should easily give you Bloodthirst. I mean, you can get Bloodthirst lots of ways. Alright. If this was a MO card, it would be 10p. And it would also discard your tallest unit from your deck. Disgraced Brawler. So, just on the Pirate Captain, I think it's a good card. Skellige has lots of competition at that provision. So, we'll see. This is a Skellige Disgraced Brawler. Sometimes I would play this from Barrel Bond. Because it's like 7 points proactively, right? But it had a Berserk 3 Destroy Self, which would be deactivated on Bloodthirst 3. Now it's being changed to Bloodthirst 1. So this was a huge buff. 6 for 4, good? When 3 of those are damage, yes. And targeted damage, you get to pick what you hit. Now it just helps statistics? No. It's 7 points, man. 7 for 4. It's a fine card. If you're having trouble against status decks as like a Parcel of Fury or Onslaught deck, I don't know. You got other problems. Okay, so that's Skellige. Let's take a look at Syndicate. Kvitr and Elida. I don't know how to pronounce this. But this card was almost never played. It was order melee, damage a unit by 1. Horde 5, damage by 2 instead. So this was like a Nuetral with a cooldown. And instead of dominance, it just required Horde 5. Now it's being changed from 8 to 6. So why didn't Nuetral get changed? Oh, it's going to be random. And then if there's a... It's going to random and passive though. So even after you pass, it will fire off. If you get a death blow, as in you probably hit something that's like 1 power, you get 2 coins. 6 provisions though. This is playable, especially because it's a Tide Cloak, which is a tag that like you never see played. This is a pretty good buff. But seriously, why didn't Nuetral get the same treatment? Yeah, seems good to me as well. Sorry, patch notes are so long I got hungry. Tamara Strenger. Power changed from 5 to 6. Provision changed from 7 to 6. So a 1 power, 1 provision buff for Tamara? Okay. It was kind of playable before. It's more playable now. Do your coins half immediately after pass for Horde? No. Your coins have like at the start of the next round. Your coins don't have, or at least they don't have until the round ends. So you wouldn't lose Horde 6. It is being changed, like, sorry, in this last card we were looking at. It is worth noting that before, if you didn't have a Horde, you could still do 1 damage. Now, you have to have Horde, and it will always damage a random by 2. So this Tamara change is a good change, because Tamara was definitely worth it if you had her in round 1, but like terrible if you didn't. Whoa, Wheel of Fortune. So currently, Wheel of Fortune is damage a unit by a random amount between 1 and 10. Which is terrible. Nobody plays it because nobody wants that random amount of damage. Specials are used to answer threats. You don't want to do that. Especially when it can overkill. At least if it was boost between 1 and 10, you knew there was no waste happening. It's being changed from 5 provision to 6. Okay. Syndicate could use some more 6 provision specials. Because it's a crime. It's a cut-up tag, although I don't think that matters, other than for like one of those Siggies. Damage an enemy unit by 0. Oh god. At the end of your turn, while in hand or deck, changes value. Okay, so it's Boris as a special. Hey, what's a conditional Nautical Sergeant? Okay. Control a card that cannot control when you need it. Yeah, but to be fair, Syndicate has so many other ways to do damage pings that like... And the fact that it will tell you how much damage it will do before you play it. Yeah, before you didn't know the value. Now you know the value. Like Boris is played in serious decks, even though it changes to a random amount at the start. I think this will see play. Well, I mean, 10 damage for 6 provisions, and you get a coin back because you're playing line pockets. Yeah, I don't know, but at least it makes. This is kind of a small buff to... No, because the treasure only gives you bronze specials. Never mind. Never mind. This is a gold special. I don't know. What do you guys think? Conditional 10 for 6? I mean, 10 removal is better than 10 point slam, right? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Like, it's one thing for, again, a boost to be random. Damage should not be random because, like, yeah, it's definitely less garbage. But do I put it in a deck for 6 provisions? Probably not. Arena Endrega. Okay, okay. You have my attention. It's 5p, right? Yeah. So this is the card now. It's fee 1, damage 1 with a cooldown. So it's like Bloody Good Friends. Bloody Good Friends gives bleeding if the enemy unit isn't boosted, but it doesn't have a cooldown. This one has a cooldown, and it's 1 per turn, but it still costs coins. So it's like kind of terrible. So the power is being changed from 6 to 4. Provision change from 5 to 4. Okay. Ability change to deploy gain coins equal to the amount an allied unit is damaged. Huh. But you have no way to... Well, technically, like if you played this and you used it with Insanity 5 times, then Arena Endrega would play for 4 points plus 5 coins. On a junior that's used Insanity once, it would play for 7. It's not bad, but like, let's keep reading in case there's... Oh, there's not much more. Mutant Killer. Mutant Killer right now is a Salamander card that you almost never see played. Damage enemy unit by 1, forward 4, damage by 3 instead. So it's like one of those other one of the other Skellige cards that got changed was like damage 1 but 6. Gregory? No, because it's on deploy. You wouldn't float a Gregory ever. So sorry, Mutant Killer. So this was like a 6 for 4, but with a condition of Horde 4. Now it's being changed to power change from 3 to 4. And then deploy boost self by 1 for each poison unit on the battlefield. That's probably better. It will be kind of annoying in like Salamander decks if we ever see those. In a proper deck, I can see this kind of being good. It's like a Keeper of the Flame, but at 4 provisions, right? Because right now, like, if you got Disciples and Gellert on the board, you like poison everything, and then at the end you play Keeper of the Flame, and it boosts the whole row. So it's like a 13-point card for 5 with a tribute cost that is really trivial. This instead would boost self by 1 for each poison unit on the battlefield, but it's only 4p. It makes it less bad. I don't know. It like self poison decks kind of never seem to take off because they die to control decks. So, and they die to other poison decks. Arena and Drago into Ignatius. I mean, are you really gonna like play your 18 provision card? Sorry, 18 power card, 9 provision finisher early on just so you can deploy and do this? Not really. If you're on mobile, in the command, click on the little gear symbol, and it will let you disable the captions there. If you're on desktop, in the bottom right there should be a CC button. The reason I knew is because you're not the first person who's had that problem. Okay, so that was all the changes. Let's see. Let's do a quick recap. Yeah, my Nightbot is broke. Oh, never mind. It's back. So, what do I think of this patch overall? I'm glad that they're touching a lot of the cards that just like have been neglected for a long time or forgotten about. I am hopeful that they will keep doing that from now till the end of the year, which is like 3 more patches. So I would really like to see in the next 3 patches more passes like this at all the unused cards. I would like them to hire someone who's ever played Monsters before, or talk to someone who's played Monsters a lot. I would happily volunteer my time, and I promise not to call anyone an idiot if they would like to get feedback from me about Monsters and what feels good or bad. I don't care if it's OP or not. I just want it to feel good to play. Yeah, sorry, I didn't go through the bug fixes. I'll check those out later. In terms of the neutral changes, like Cyprian Wiley and is good, Ale okay, but it's only for alchemy, so not my favorite kind of neutral change. I like it when neutral cards are usable in multiple factions. That's kind of their purpose. Otherwise, why are they neutral? If this is only good with Skellig Alchemy, like, and don't tell me, oh, you can also use this with I guess maybe NR. No, not really. Like, I don't see this used in anything other than Skellige. Cyprian Wiley change is good. I think it's playable now. You know, especially in Golden Necker. Like, making it 4 banish is really good. Because there's cards you want to banish, like Crow Mother, like Rats, or Self-Eaters, I don't know. Maddock. I mean, 3 worked on Maddock already, but just decreasing the likelihood that this will be a brick is going to make it more playable. I don't know how playable, how frequently it will be played, because it's more about what deck could benefit from a card like this. But it's at least much better. We might see I could see this getting a provision buff to 7, honestly. But we can do that in Gwentfinity. What we can't do is change the ability text in Gwentfinity. So, Colossal Ifrit. I like that they're trying to make the Ifrits good, but I don't like that they're making you want to play all of them together, because some of them just don't make sense with the other ones. So I think Colossal Ifrit, Enrage Ifrit, and hey, where's the other one? Oh, Frenzied Dao. I think those are the good ones. This is probably the one that will be played by itself, if at all. Enraged and Colossal, I can see playing them with Frenzied Dow and maybe a Living Armor in like a control-y deck. Because Living Armor gives you some proactivity that those decks usually need. Pathfinder, I think this is a shit change. I think it was better before. Also, this is a mistake. This should say 6. It's currently 6 power. Gregory, sure, this card was not ever played before. It still won't be played because damage 1 is terrible. They should have changed the damage, not the death blow boost. Like, all this does is increase the ceiling without affecting the floor, and the floor is terrible, and the variance is high. And like, this is a perfect example of the biggest problem I see in CDPR design recently, and like, even, you know, toxically positive members of the community like Shinmiri would agree that there's just too many cards that have a low floor, high ceiling. Marlene, I'm sad they ruined this card. This is terrible, and the old version was better. At least had some use. I never see a use in this other than something cheesy. Nivellen, moving the whole row, changing it to 8 provision. Like, there's just, they keep removing cards from the 6 and 7, and I don't like it. This was a useful, playable card in decks, not just Reavers, you know? And now it's like, you can still play it, but it's like a bigger commitment. Like, Geralt Ard could have moved the whole row. Why is Nivellen the one that's moving the whole row, and Ard is still moving 3? Ivo is not interesting at all. Oh, Ivo. Increase life for each card you played this round? Yeah. But the power changed from 5 to 1. And all it does is a boost. So, like, I guess I can see, like, an Assimilate deck playing, but no, because, like, do you really have provisions left in that kind of deck for a 9p card? Like, sure, the old ability was terrible, but I don't think the new ability is going to get much play either. Maybe in a scoia'tael deck? Or a cat. So scratch a lot. Because you play it, you play like a card, 2 cards a turn minimum, right? So scratch a lot. Yeah, but what do you cut, Kareem? Like, cut Vilgefortz? You cut, like, Anna? Or Vigo? Like, those decks are already pretty tight. And all it does is, like, a conditional, a card that's only good in the long round. Like, does Assimilate need help in the long round? Ivo? Ivo's 9p. Ivo's 9p right now. It's a 9. It's a 5 for 9. And it's going to be changed to a 1 for 9. And then, like, maybe you played 15 cards in a 10 card round 3 that you somehow got in the Magic and Fairy Dustland. Like, what? You see what I'm saying? It's not good. I mean, I'm only reviewing this one right now because I apparently skipped it before. No, Leo is the 9p guy that like deletes something. That's bigger. It's like a Geralt that's better. It's a better Geralt, is what Leo is. Ivo, it was just like a terrible Nithral for 9p. Yeah, no. What if cool ability? Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I don't really want to sit there and psychoanalyze the devs because I think it would just drive me crazy. Primal Dow, currently terrible, still terrible. Making a 9 for 9 be like a 10 for 9 isn't going to change anything. Maybe in a shield wall deck, but probably not. Like, this is more expensive than Ragnar. Like, why would you play this? Regis Bloodlust, probably the worst thing about this patch. It's a very much a smorky, like, I rate this -5 out of 5 stars. Not because it won't be playable, it will be playable, but it makes everything binary as hell. It'll be like used in cheese or really smarky decks, and you'll hate losing to it, and you'll hate like losing with it, and it's just terrible, garbage design. Just bad. Go watch the section where we talk about this at the beginning of the video if you want to see more. Tainted Ale. Okay, it's a buff to the location artifact that's terrible. Will it be better enough that it will be played? Maybe. It kind of counters Marines and Piggies, but like, are you gonna put a 9p artifact in your deck just for those things? I don't know. I can see maybe like a Golden Neck or Pirates deck or something, or a Bloodthirst deck. That is, I don't know. I don't know what this is for. Like, yes, it's stronger than it was before, but that doesn't mean it's going to get played. A lot of these cards are like, this card is terrible. How do we buff it a little bit, but slightly in an interesting way? That's not what you should do. That's starting with the solution and looking for a problem. You should instead see what problems there are in the game and see what cards you can modify to fix those problems. How do we make this archetype more playable? How do we make this faction feel good? How do we make, you know, matchups feel less binary? How do we make the game more interesting, more deep? Like, yeah. Last Wish was terrible, still terrible. Armor's Workshop, this might be too OP. This is a way of like making dwarves played, but in a completely cheesy and terrible way, because you can't counterplay this other than like what? Remove every 3 dwarves that are next to each other? That's not counterplay, especially when they have all that armor. This is terrible. This is just for lore. Ignore this. Like, don't try to build a deck around it. Save yourself some sanity. 6 vitality to 4 cards. Yeah, 24 points in theory, but like making an entire deck around a 4p vitality card that like takes 6 turns to give you points. Oxenford Scholar. This is a neutral. Don't forget, this is a neutral. You've never seen this card. Go in the deck builder, find it. Like, it's a different card than you think. And then this deploy is like, I hate this. Like, I hate this so much. In your starting deck, it just triggers me. It's like a shitty Equinox. Like, why? This change made me rage. This is so bad. I hate this so much. Not only did they remove a 7p card, instead of making it playable, they made it 9p in a faction that was already starved for good 7ps. And like, consume a token? What the hell? Like, this is only good if you boost it with Alpha Werewolf. Morntart is less good now. It's the same amount of points for more provisions. Sure, it's on deploy and lost the armor. Sure, it's on deploy, but it still has all the same downsides. It just means you can last say it if you won round 1. Like, this is terrible. This Flaminica, meanwhile, has a 6/4, 7 provisions, doesn't banish stuff from the graveyard, can be played multiple times in a game. Like, is 2 per beast instead of 1 for each unit. This is just insulting. Plague Maiden might be interesting because it lets you poison stuff, but it just seems like too many steps. I feel like I'd rather just play Moral and King Cobras. Maybe you'll play those and this together in the same deck, but like, you're gonna make a control deck that's still worse than other control decks. Like, why would I play this, like, 10 provision card when I can play Poison Kecker Syndicate? Like, that's just better. Or any, like, SK removal deck or archetype. Like, I don't see what this does. It's not like you can just drop a Plague Maiden into a Deathwish deck and suddenly you have control, because you have to set up rats. You have to create rats, eat the rats, have something else in your hand that you can poison on the same turn that you destroy a rat to poison an enemy, so that it doesn't... Because you need to do same turn poison, otherwise it gets counterplayed. You don't have that many poisons. You don't have like 6 poisons like Syndicate does, right? It's just terrible. Plus, like, this has a Deathwish that spawns rats, but you need rats. Like, it's an engine that you want to delete on your own? It's like Penitent, but like even more pronounced. Because Penitent just has a thrive. It has an end. Like, a Thrive unit has a shelf life. When you don't have any more ways to proc a Thrive, you consume it. Easy, right? And consuming procs your other Thrives. This is just bad. I don't... If you ever wanted proof that they don't play monsters, like, this is their version of giving monsters control. Cockatrice? This has Predator on a poison. A card that gives poison. Like, Cockatrice was terrible, right? But they lowered the power from 4 to 2. Now it boosts self by 2 for each adjacent beast instead of like 1. So it will go to 6 power, but it means you can poison a 5. Unless you boosted it with your 1 Alpha Werewolf, which you had to have in your hand round 1 to play as your first card, and this had to be in your hand in the same round. Just... Come on, man. Like, at least... I don't know. Do you guys have, like, nephews or somebody that can play the game for you and you can ask them, hey, would you play this? Maybe somebody that, like... And where are all my insectoids doing poison? Like, why is a cockatrice doing poison? I don't know. Maybe larvae can poison stuff. That would be cool. Like, put down a Thrive unit and poison an enemy and make them choose... Like, it's a 6-speed card, right? Make them choose between purifying something or deleting my Thrive engine. That's the kind of thing that Skellige or Nilfgaard would get. But Monsters gets this, like, Predator poison. You can only poison short units? Poison is a form of Tall Punish. What are you talking about? And only having Alpha Werewolf and, like... This is on deploy, so it has to be boosted in your hand, okay? It's not like you can put it on the board and then boost it with that Ultimate Evolution or whatever 5P special is that boosts beasts by 8. Like, you gotta boost this in your hand. And it's not like Monsters has Nature's Harvest or something. Offering only works on the unit in your deck. Like, but Francis Bedlam only works on a unit in your hand. Like, there isn't the space in the game for something with this much setup required just to do poison to an enemy that's shorter than it. Like, it's just not... Do you see what I'm saying? And Werewolf used to be immune. I don't know if it's losing immunity or not. It doesn't say here. I hope that it's not, because otherwise this is even worse than I thought. But as is, if you hand buff this somehow, you can boost self by an enemy unit's power if the enemy is smaller than it. So if you boosted this Werewolf by like 8, okay, now it's 12. You can use it on enemy, and then it will deploy for 12 plus 11, right? Which means this card played for 15 for 4. Why? Why do we need that highest ceiling on a 4 provision card that's immune? But with 16 billion conditions. This isn't like, we don't need another Shuffleopagus archetype, and Monsters doesn't have the tools that NR has to do that kind of thing. So if you're not going to give MO those tools, which you're not gonna because we just had the last card drop, knock it off. Like, what the hell is this? Nilfgaard, Vilgefortz will no longer mill golds, it will only mill bronzes. That's all this means. And this is a good change. Glad it's doing it. Deathbane Arbalest, this is a 4 provision Nilfgaard Onager. Every time an enemy unit gains a status during your turn, damage it by 1. Not damage at random, damage it. So this is going to be insane with Pikemen. But also it will kill every spy that you play. Which also means it will brick any Rot Tossers that you have. Or if you try to use Blightmakers to toss a Cow Carcass, it will instantly die. Which is something I am confident they haven't even thought of. There's no way they thought of that. Does it make Vilka less useful? No. It just makes it less likely to outright win the game by milling out King of Beggars. Northern Realms, Banner Tutor. Power change from 2 to 4. This is actually a nerf. This card was as bad as it was before. It's worse now. Before, at least it was a 6. It was just a 4P card you put in your deck because it had a floor of... It would just play for 6 if you had any other mage. Now it's like... Yep, it's 5 provisions. You have to play it and then play like another special for it to boost by 2. If it lives and you play 3 specials, okay, it played for 10. Or sorry, yeah, it played for 10. That's like many steps for not a lot of payoff. Hit Winnie Sergeant, charges change from 2 to 3. This is a good change because this card was like power crept. And now it will play for like 6 or 7 points depending on formation. And more if you have Onager, but those points belong to Onager, which should be nerfed and be 6 or 8 provisions, honestly. We're gonna scout 5 to 6. This is a nerf to mutagen, soldier spam decks. But, they should just nerf mutagen. Whatever. This is a sizable nerf. We'll see less Reaver Scout spam. Himerian Infantry. This is dumb. This is a busted card. It's like... you can have 5 leader charges and this will play for a lot, but sometimes it won't. And I think this is too high a ceiling for a 5p card on deploy. 90! Sorry, it's order, but it's got formation. We played front row and you used it. Old version was bad, but like this isn't an improvement. This isn't a good change. Right-hit Saboteurs used to boost artifacts by... a unit by 1 or 3 if you controlled an artifact. Now it just spawns a Deadeye instead. I think this is a better card. Has more synergy with the way the elves are now. Do I look forward to seeing more elves? No, but this is a fine change. Udalric got changed to be 8 body and have a Berserk 7 that sets an enemy unit to its own power. So this is going to get changed. This basically what it means is if you have a way to damage Udalric lower, you can set an enemy unit to that power also. So like if you get your Udalric to 1, you can set the enemy Eager to be 1. So it's something. Provision cost isn't changing, so it's still staying 6 provision. So it's going to be minimum 8 for 6, like Darren, but much better in terms of points, right? Because Darren is like 10 points most, and 1 thinning, whereas this could be 8 points plus. If you got some value out of self-damaging yourself, then 8 points plus however much you reduce something's power. This can be very strong. And for 6 provisions, it's a lot. Could be game-winning, honestly. Having a 6 provision Tall Punish, it's basically a 6 provision Wolfsbane. Potentially, with some setup required. I don't mind that a card that requires setup be better than a card that costs more. But this, like... also bricks less. This can be proactive. This is very flexible. I'm going to say this card is OP. Or at least undercosted. This could easily be 7 provisions. Ability change. So Demon Pirate Captain. This is a card you probably haven't seen. It's just getting a buff from Bloodthirst 3 to 2. Makes it better. This is getting a buff from Bloodthirst 3 to 1. Makes it better. Just 2 4p bronzes that see almost no play getting buffed, and they'll be playable. Syndicate. This card's getting changed. It's currently a terrible Nuetral, but the provision cost is being changed to 6 instead of 8. And the power is getting reduced from... or power is increasing from 5 to 6. My question is, why didn't Nuetral get the same change? Same with Black Rayla and some of the other equivalent cards in other factions, because they all have one. But this part's a good change. This Horde 6 at the end of return damage random enemy, and then death will gain 2 coins. Like, it's good, but like, why? And why is it Horde 6? It's good that we get a playable Tide Cloak at 6 provisions. We'll see how much it will be used. Tomorrow's getting 1 power, 1 provision buff. So this is the kind of thing you'll see in Gwentfinity. Players will be able to do this. Tomorrow will now be much better in a bounty deck. You'll play it, I think. Like, 1 provision, 1 point is a lot. It was already worth playing early in the game. It just wasn't as good later on. But now, maybe it'll be worth it. Wheel of Fortune was terrible design before, and while slightly better because you know the value of the damage, you're still not going to play it because it's getting changed to 6 provisions. And you don't want an answer card that you can't depend on. It's one thing for Boris's boost to be random, or change at the beginning of each turn. It's another whole other thing for a removal card to have that effect. It's silly, especially. I mean, maybe if it's in your deck and you're using Furco to tutor it, it's okay. But it's a gold. It's also a gold special, so it's not like you can get it from Ruben's Treasure. Arena Andrega, power change from 6 to 4. Provision cost change from 5 to 4. Gain coins equal to an allied unit's damage. There's not a lot of things in Skellige that get damaged in Syndicate, other than like insanity cards. So if you have a bloody good friends that you can ping down to, spend down to 1, this will play for 4 plus 5 coins. Which for 4 provisions is pretty good. But I'm not sure that like that's reliable enough to put it in your decks. There's not a lot of insanity cards I see play right now. Wait, Philippe used to be like this? Philippe used to be like a Nuetral? And Sigvald? Yeah, all of them are getting reworked except Nuetral. Like, which is arguably one of the worst ones. Well, Brack Rayla is also pretty bad. Is it good in Tatterwing? I mean, you have to float something because Arena Andrega is on deploy, so you have to float a 1 power unit on the board. No. Mutant Killer is going to be slightly better. Okay. And there's some game fixes, like the Dagon bug with the infused units is going away. Falibor apparently had a bug. King Demoman will always show the cards now. It's a good change. Corixus. There's an audio bug. Temple! Temple will now show what it spawned. This is a huge deal. Thank you, pro players, for lobbying for this for so long. And verification can now... Wait, this was a bug? Oh my god, you know how many games I lost because I got verification from Golden Necker and I had to convert my own Sabertooth Tiger because my traps hadn't been procced yet? Oh. Okay, so some good bug fixes. Anyway, this is my review of the patch. I rated like 3 out of 5 stars. The good stuff is that they're touching a lot of units that really could use some love. And also that it's like a sizable patch. I think we need like 3 more like this minimum for Gwent to be in a decent state before Gwentfinity. I'm not hopeful we'll see that, but I hope that we do. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to help me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, and every sub helps.